All right, guys. Finally, we are live, and that's my fault. I want to apologize before I get everybody on because I had lost power this morning, didn't realize it, slept through everything. My wife went to the chiropractor, never woke me up. My alarm was on Google, hers was on her phone. So Jade and Patrick were pinging me, didn't see it, and well, here we are. And here's Jade.
I'm just recovering from thinking that Steven might be dead in a gutter somewhere, murdered by the home
Well,
arcade mafia.
you know what though? At least you cared. This guy here, he didn't even. He called one time, didn't care. He was just like, "Damn, I'm not even gonna leave a voicemail." He's just sitting there. He's not saying.
Sorry, I was talking to Bobby
See?
Broadway in the live chat.
He doesn't care.
I'm not used to live streaming this early. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, yeah, I've been up for several hours already, but I'm on multiple cups of coffee. I just can't wake up today, guys. I just can't get going here. But happy to be here, and also repping my boy Restalgia. I got his sweater. You can pick this up on Restalgia's Teespring store.
Here we go.
I'm contractually obligated to point that out. And this dude, it's that time of year. Like here in Arizona, we don't wear jackets. Like even in the middle of winter, like you could just wear a hoodie because it's only like 50 degrees outside. This is as cold as it gets. Like you don't need a jacket, like just a hoodie, and you're good, right? So got my Restalgia hoodie on. So I'm here. How are you guys?
It doesn't even get cold like in the night in the desert.
Well, it does, yeah, but like overnight it might drop down to the 40s, sometimes maybe 30s in the dead of winter, but that's about it. So, nothing crazy.
Our live comments work. Yay!
Yay! We are on the air. We are working, and I like this little overlay you got going on here.
Oh,
I like
thank
the
you.
The greens and the tans. It's something different.
I want to try something different. So, what I wanted to do, guys, and this is my fault, I wanted to get a live call-in going, and where you could actually call and talk with us. And I might be able to do that while we're working here. You just got to bear with me.
From doing stuff like that.
Listen, I can do it. Okay? If anybody, the Wizard of Broadcast Magic can do it. And we may make that happen. So, Jade, tell us what we're talking about today besides home arcade talk, because you were involved in a very special project. And I saw that I didn't put it on your lower third, but I saw what you wrote on the live to air. So I'm not going to call you that. And look, we got a subscriber already. Awesome. Thank you over there on Twitch. You were involved in a project to do with Killer Instinct. Why don't you talk about that?
Yes. So, I was part of the beta program for Code Mystics, and it was interesting because it wasn't attached to Arcade 1-Up, so it wasn't their project, but you technically still I had to go through you still have to go through that channel to get to Code Mystics to be in the beta program, and that's kind of like what I'll say about it without going in depth. But anyways, so I was working with Travis, who was kind of the one pushing it along with Code Mystics to get more people into the beta. And it was really cool working with Code Mystics, for one thing, because they're brilliant and they're very articulate in what they want to achieve, and then in communicating with the people that are working on the beta. A lot of what we started out with when I got there was spectate and being able to basically put a quarter on the glass. And as we went on over time, we basically refined that and worked on developing it and turning it into an even more, what is the word that I'm looking for here? A more authentic experience, if you will, by giving you kind of like these little tiny options that make it feel like you're really kind of playing side by side with someone else, if that makes sense. So if anyone in here has not used it or doesn't have KI, the way that it basically works is you have spectate. So you can join a game where two people are already fighting online, and you can spectate that game. Now, if you so choose, you can quarter up. And if you quarter up, that puts you in line to get into that fight or to fight whoever wins. And once you go through that, and if you fight and you win, then you're the one who's hosting the game and people can keep fighting you. And if you get defeated, you can either go back in line and quarter up again, or you can just spectate. But you can do all this without having to jump in and out of the game. So it's really, really cool. It's a really fluid experience. And, you know, I think the biggest thing that we were all kind of talking about was this would be so great if, you know, Arcade 1Up saw this and actually decided to implement it into their other games. Because Mystics did this completely out of the goodness of their heart. And with, I think, the hopes that it would give, you know, the community and them an opportunity to implement it into other games, maybe, or in the future, in future games, implementing it into those games. It's the best, by far, online spectating mode that I've ever played on, especially like an older game like Killer Instinct. So
You got a super chat from Definitely Not Zohar that we don't want to miss. He said, where is it? This is better than Saturday morning cartoons for $2. Thanks so much. We greatly appreciate that. Although, man, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a big shoes to fill, man. Saturday morning cartoons, at least when we grew up, were amazing. You know, you had like the X-Men, the Spider-Man, the Ninja Turtle cartoons, you know what I mean? And those cartoons were so well done, produced, great music, action, artwork. After I became a father, watching Saturday morning cartoons with my son, like the only thing I could get behind was like SpongeBob. Like I find SpongeBob a very good show. But everything else is like, what is this weird stuff that they're pushing on our kids? Like it's all this weird crap. Cartoons today suck compared to when we were kids, but I digress. Yeah, Jade, I agree completely. It was a very nice thing of Code Mystics to do, to give us these features on the Arcade 1Up Killer Instinct cabinet. So I agree. Like they didn't have to do it, and apparently they did it. So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Well, one of the cool things when we were doing the beta was we would suggest something. We would all be talking about something, and we would suggest a small change. For example, you know, this is great, but when we leave the game, you guys should make it so that we can get back in queue and then quarter up again. And Code Mystics would be like, well, it's a lot of code that we have to go through, and it's just like opening up another can of worms. You know, every time you change something, it, you know, adds a variable or multiple variables. And we'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I mean, this is still just really good. So, you know, nobody's going to complain about this. They're going to love it. And then the next day they'd be like, all right, we got an update for you guys. And it would literally have like everything we talked about in it. And we're like, you guys are brilliant. Like, this is ridiculous.
All right. So while you guys were chatting in the background, I managed to get a phone line up and running. So if you guys, and I'm going to get it on the lower third here in just a second. If you guys want to add or ask any questions to this, you don't need to be on video. You can pick up this little thing that you have, whether it's a smartphone or one of them flip phones like Pdubs has. You can call in at 724-893-8603, and I'll put it up on the lower third. 724-893-8603, and I'm looking because I don't know it by heart. And you can call in and ask any of us anything. You could tell us to get off the air too. I mean, that works too. But
no, don't invite don't invite the trolls. Don't invite the guys. Well, let's have fun. If you want to make a joke and be funny, make a joke. But it's too early in the morning for any kind of troll activity. Like even the trolls have to sleep at some time.
Dubs is sensitive in the morning.
Yeah,
he's
don't
be too hard on him.
I'm grumpy. I'm an afternoon person. I'm not really a morning person. Like it takes me a while.
So you'll see it here appear on the lower third in just a few seconds here, guys. I'm running. I was running a little bit behind, but I managed. Like I said, I managed to get it going. I mean, hey, I got us going here.
Yeah.
These guys thought I was laying in a ditch somewhere.
I remember when you
So
did when you were doing the retro buzz, Steven, you were the first podcast show that started doing all these using the phone to call in and stuff. But do you remember how many people would call into you guys' show every week? You, Glenn,
Oh, it
and
was
Cool Toy.
yeah.
But they would call in and they would use soundboards.
Yeah.
Remember that? And it was all the Family Guy soundboards and
Yep.
stuff. Now, I don't know who those people were,
Oh, I don't know who it was. I think
but they were a bunch of jerks. Whoever kept calling in.
Did he wear a backwards hat?
He probably wore a backwards hat, thick black glasses, and probably a black hoodie. You know what? It
Was he a
nostalgia.
Marvel fan?
It was nostalgia. That's who
Yeah.
it was. It was nostalgia.
It's always his
That's
fault.
who it was. That's who it was. Yeah. But yeah, that was fun.
So the
That was
number
funny.
is in the lower third there.
Yep.
You guys can call in. That's the phone number. Well, I'm going to put the audio on that. We'll see if it rings. I don't know. This is the first time I'm using this service, so I don't know if I have the ringer on or not. But I have it pulled up so I can actually visually see it. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
If not,
So what do you
be a big
guys
fail.
think about that update though? Like I'm curious, like kind of like I want your feedback on your point of view. What do you think about Code Mystics doing something that basically they made an official update on their own and then told Arcade One Up like here's the update for it, but
All right, hang on.
Arcade One Up did not.
I think we'll answer that here. I think we've got a caller. Caller?
You do.
Oh.
Can you hear me? It's endless.
Endless. What's going on, buddy?
Dan.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see all your great faces. I was going to say see Jade on the screen. She's just grumpy. Early in the morning.
Very nice.
And don't worry, if you guys call
I
in, I'm
turned
not
my
remembering.
volume down, so. But no, this is sweet. I love when you guys do the call-in stuff. I'll make it a quick one. Hey, everybody in the chat, you're all awesome, and everybody give a thumbs up and stuff. And thanks for everybody waiting until they got on live because that was super cool. I was there waiting. It was a fun little chat.
I appreciate you
But have a
guys.
great day, everybody, and thanks for doing the live today.
All right, Dan. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
And whoever was calling in while Dan was on, you can feel free to call back. That's one thing I don't have yet. I don't have a screener. So unfortunately, if the line's busy, you're gonna have to wait it out. But
Can we talk about Endless One Up real quick? So what I love is when you guys have there's so many people who have used this community or these products and they've started YouTube channels, right? Endless One Up is one of them. I'm one of them, right? Like I didn't have a YouTube channel before this hobby started. This hobby, I made a YouTube channel because of it. And some people the build is a little bit slower. Like it takes a little bit slower for you to find your audience and your audience to find you. But if you keep plugging away, good things happen. Dan Endless One Up makes great content. He's got a great sense of humor. His Steam Deck content, he's my go-to guy for anything Steam Deck. So if you guys are into the Steam Deck, subscribe to Endless One Up. But the point is he was plugging, and now things are starting to move for him. The needle's moving. And not only that, if you just be positive and do your thing, good things will happen. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but that company, Jayde, who they make accessories for the Steam Deck, they've reached out to Endless to do giveaways on his channel and stuff for his viewers, for his audience. And that stuff happens to good people, to good content creators who are positive people. So big shout out to Endless One Up. And guys, make sure you participate on his channel. You might win some merch, man. Get some merch. So why not?
yeah, I'm gonna have to do a hat swap with him and get an Endless One Up hat. I have 2 Tech Buzz hats over there, like the ones I'm wearing, because I get them made to order. Otherwise, I stack it. So Jade, you'd asked before the phone call, and you guys can still call in. The lines are open. You had asked what our thoughts are on this, because I guess my thought with this is this what we're going to see going forward? Are we going to see them try to tackle Mortal Kombat? Are we going to see them try to tackle some of the other arcades that are out there? And if Arcade One Up doesn't get involved, doesn't throw them any money, are they still going to go forward with the project, maybe offer a donation solution for, obviously, to get paid from the community to say, look, if you really want us to work on this, we're going to put up a GoFundMe or a Patreon, that if Arcade One Up says, you know what, screw you guys, which we've seen that from them before, if you community guys really want it, set up a Patreon, They can set it up, and you donate like whatever their goal is to meet their coding requirements, and pay for it that way. Let the community pay for it. I think personally that's the way I would go, and just have Arcade One Up just push it as an update. That's my 2 cents. Dubs?
I appreciate the excitement and the fact that this is happening with the Killer Instinct cabinet. I appreciate everyone, who's all like, this is great. Now let's do this to other cabinets that are existing. In my personal opinion, guys, it's not going to happen. If it's not a Code Mystics cabinet, it's not going to happen. I think Code Mystics is 100% responsible for this. There's other developers behind the Mortal Kombat cabinet and some of the other cabinets that people are waiting for updates on. We're hoping that Arcade One Up releases updates, but I don't see that happening. I really don't. I think that this is going to be a one and done thing. Like
I'm talking about within the Code Mystics camping world.
Well,
what do you mean?
But the thing is that Code Mystics software, Gemini, is basically licensed to Arcade One Up devs as a platform for them to do online stuff with. So, I mean, that's completely outside of their control. So it's technically still kind of their platform. I think that one of the things moving forward, that if Arcade One Up sees something like this and they see that there's a very positive response from the community and people in general, and that they're going out and they're utilizing this update and buying the cab or whatever it is, that they would be wise enough to say, maybe we should just pick Code Mystics up and contract them to do our online games. I think that if they had them doing, at least moving forward, all their online games, it would save them a lot of headaches, and it would probably make people in the community feel a lot more confident about how it's going to turn out, and that there's going to be ongoing support for it.
Yeah, and that's what we all hope for, and the response has been positive. Everyone who owns a Killer Instinct cabinet seems pretty excited about this firmware feature updates, and for the most part, it's working really well. I haven't seen people in Discord, Reddit, Facebook, on YouTube videos. I haven't seen people saying like, I'm in the beta and it sucks. Like, no one's saying like bad things, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work or anything like that. I haven't seen any negative reports. The feedback has been good, and we can only hope that that feedback will inspire other developers who work with Arcade One Up to do the same thing, push out the same updates on these cabinets. But just me personally, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. I think Code Mystics did this, and I don't think it's going to happen in Mortal Kombat, because I think Arcade One Up hates Mortal Kombat.
Well, let me ask you this, Dubs, on that note, because I mean, Jade and I were talking about this. Do you think this is going to give Arcade One Up a kick in the pants?
Hopefully.
To jumpstart, or do you think this is going to fall on deaf ears and they're going to be like, "Hey, great, thanks, Code Mystics for making our customers happy. Thanks for doing it pro bono. But yeah, we're not gonna buy into this."
I mean, you have to go by track record, and based upon their track record when it comes to doing updates that they should be doing to their products, historically they haven't done it.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
So because they haven't done it, I'm not going to say they're going to do it. I'm going to continue to be a Debbie Downer and be doubtful that we'll ever see firmware updates released for Dragon's Lair, Terminator 2, the Pac-Man 40th cabinet we're still waiting on. That was promised over 2.5 years ago. Like, I just don't see that happening.
But it's also, they're also at a different place right now, Arcade One Up is, with their consumer base, where yeah, sure, there's tons of normies that may buy their stuff, but you also have the niche and like the YouTubers who are the ones who are actually saying things about their stuff, and that's where normies go sometimes, just to look at products. And so if you have if they're taking a beating on the social media end of things, people are being very critical and very harsh, and they're tired of like the problematic issues that they've had with Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And a lot of people are upset about the online issues. And so I think that this is kind of an interesting time frame for them to come out with an update like this, which isn't even sponsored by Arcade One Up, aside from the fact that they're saying, okay, you can do an official update, and showing that these are all options that can be available on any of the Arcade One Up cabinets, literally.
No, and I
So
agree with that.
for them to, like, turn their back and, kind of just turn their back on the community, or on the fact that, Code Mystics went out of their way to do something like this, I think is going to only look worse on them in the long run. And it's going to make, people who are tighter in, the content creator arena, and who follow these kind of like chains where we're having discussions like this, think twice about supporting the company or buying their products.
Well, I think they've already cut their nose to spite their face, because like with this, they already said they don't really care. They've put out products that aren't finished, and people are mad about it. We talked about this the other night. I know, Dubs, you guys have talked about it, and I know Glenn really wants to talk about it because he saw this gentleman in the chat room that he put up. He's from the Atari. He said, "This is David Alexander from the Atari 5200 podcast. You remember the best console available in 1982." And so Glenn here is chomping at the bit. He wants to talk about it, but unfortunately he is not on the show today. And we have him in the back room, and we've kind of had to put a sock on him.
Now, although I'm doubtful we'll see any other updates on any other cabinets, I think they're gonna, eventually we'll have online play on NFL Blitz. I think that's gonna happen. They're already like a third of the way there. MVC2, they'll probably, they have to give us online play.
Both of those are gonna get it.
But are we gonna get the fairy tale happy ending where other cabinets that are in desperate need of updates and fixes, is that gonna happen?
No, probably not.
I'm gonna say no, but if it did happen, I'll be one of the first people to get up on YouTube and sing their praises. After all the guys made the big announcement about this KI thing, I got on late at night to say, I think this is cool. Like I tell people, if they do a good thing, I will sing their praises, just like any other company. So,
but it's not Arcade One Up though. They had nothing to do with it.
True.
Literally,
true.
They're like, we don't care. Like we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna push out money to pay a developer to make an update like that, even though it can be done relatively easily.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm ready to sing their praises. Give us a reason to sing your praises. Give us the fixes and the updates that the community has been asking for. That's all you got to do. It's that simple.
I think though, I think the route for, at least in this space, the continued development for Killer Instinct, even if Arcade One Up just turns a blind eye and they're just like, all right, fine, we'll push the firmware, is for for them to get paid for anything. I think they should do like a crowdfunding solution, because I think the community, if they want it bad enough, especially with the KI Pro coming, I think that would be the best way. It's not like, okay, if Arcade One Up's not going to pay them, it's a dead project. Well, I really think that's the way to go.
KI Pro and KI are kind of in the bag. Like they're good.
I get it.
I don't think anybody's gonna have to worry about that. But a bigger issue is like Code Mystics, I think, could pretty easily fix the issues with MVC2 and have really fluent online play. And if Arcade One Up would just be like, okay, we're gonna scrap our current devs, pass that information on to, CM, and then hire them to do this task and fix this up, they could do it. And so moving forward, they could still, if Arcade One Up would just freaking hire them, they could develop a uni platform or something close to that, where all of their future games come out, and then you don't have to just basically scramble to develop these online games to play correctly, because you have this company that's doing it on their own platform with their own software, with their own devs that they've been doing it with, and they know what they're doing. They're not trying to develop stuff from scratch.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us. I mean, hell, it was back when NBA Jam came out. When NBA Jam came out a couple years ago, a lot of us in this community, as well as people on YouTube, as well as people in written press, were all like, "Wouldn't it be great if Arcade One Up just gave like some kind of exclusive contract to Code Mystics and just had them do all their software development moving forward?" And you know, it's a shame that didn't happen. Because it seems like the Code Mystics cabinets typically end up being the best cabinets. You know what I mean? When it comes to emulation and online play and all that stuff, versus other cabinets that have issues that are developed by others that Arcade One Up outsources to. So,
Well, let's talk about this for a second because I see a lot of comments in the chat room from Tegan and from David Alexander, basically stating that Arcade One Up when it first came out was a lot more affordable than it is now.
mhm.
And now it's become, and Dubs, you and I had a side conversation about this now where, you know, back when it was like around the $200, $250, even $300, you know, it was kind of like a commodity. It was a toy, right? It was something that we were like, we can overlook a little scratch on the screen or a ball top being, you know, instead of a bat top or vice
Mhm.
versa. And we could overlook the cookie cutter shape of the cabinet. But now you're getting into the $7, $8, $9,000 mark. Is it, in you guys' opinion, is it still considered a toy?
So in my opinion, at $300, these were all toy arcades. And yeah, although we would complain and say we want light up marquees and the buttons and the sticks suck, the complaints were there, but it wasn't like as passionate as the community is now due to the rising prices that we're paying today. So in my opinion, a couple of years ago, these were toy arcades. Now at $600-700 with improved quality, bigger, better titles, bigger, better cabinets, I would say these are what you might call replica arcades, right? They're not officially arcades. But, you know, if you can't, basically what I'm saying is for $600-700, they're not toys anymore. And we need to get our $600-700 worth if you're paying full price. Hell, even if you get it on sale, good for you. But I mean, for the cost they're charging now, everything needs to be worth that cost. I hope that, at least in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think.
I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I feel like they're out of like the toy zone. When they did first come out and they were like $200 a pop, they all had the same mold. They were all made from the same mold with the exception of the control panels, right? And at the time they were all using those crappy TN monitors and stuff. But the point is that they all came from the same mold. So then we start saying like, well, hey, you guys should put in, you know, light up marquees, better screens, coin doors, and they start doing all this stuff. And they should come with risers, and they start doing all this stuff, and so the price goes up, you know, obviously. And so I see it going into like the $500 range, which makes sense to me, just based off of the changes that we've seen them make to the machines themselves. And obviously, there's, you know, things that we feel like are concessions or discretionary, but at the same time, you can easily substantiate, like, in my opinion, where the price changes have come from. So that's why when you get into the area of having issues with the software, it becomes a big deal because it's like, okay, now you're paying $600 for this. Like, they shouldn't just be like mac and cheesing a game together. You know, it should be ready to go. It should be working correctly.
Yeah.
The mechanics should be good. I think that it's totally acceptable to get a product that has bugs in the software, but then having 100% support on that product by pushing out updates and keeping dev time on it to support it, because that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for a mac and cheese product. You're paying for, you know, a nice Italian restaurant product, basically, especially when you have these huge IPs from Capcom, Disney, you know, Marvel, which is technically Disney. All this stuff should be supported. And I feel like in the NFL, I feel like these companies have to be looking at them going, what's your problem?
Yeah. There's a lot of good comments in the chat room here about this too. There, anything over $500, there's basically stated that it should be it's not considered a toy. And some people are saying too many modifications. Dubs, you do modifications.
Yeah,
I like
another,
mods. I like mods. Mods are fun.
that's
Go ahead.
that's another thing too, though. When you get to that price point, especially when you're at like a $600 price point, like I don't want to mod it. Like at that point, I'm
Correct.
buying it as not only a collectible, but a playable collectible kind of deal. And I don't want to mod it anymore. Like at that price point, when they're $200 and you're spending another $3 on mods, there you go. You match that to 500, $600. But when you're
Yeah.
paying $600 out of the box, everything should be good to go and look the right way.
I would agree with this comment right here. I'll come to you, Dubs, here. But he says Arcade 1-Up Tron is not a toy for sure. I really love my Tron.
So you got a great comment here right above that from definitely not Zohar. It's going to start getting weird when no riser cabs are mixed in with riser cabs in people's game rooms. What I think, honestly, is I don't think it's going to look weird because when I look at my loft right now, and I have iArcade, Act Games, Rec Room Masters, Arcade 1-Up, a Pro Golden Tee, or XL Golden Tee, whatever you want to call it, plus normal size Arcade 1-Ups all mixed in. In my opinion, it actually looks more like a real arcade. Like you have all these different machines of different shapes and sizes, and those are the arcades we remember. I think that actually, in my opinion, looks better than a row of Arcade 1-Ups that are all the exact same size and shape. We all see these pictures of people's game rooms, and guys, your game rooms are incredible. I'm not knocking them, but you have to admit, when you have a row of arcade machines and they're all the same size and shape,
cutter. Yep.
The same cookie cutter thing, does it look as cool as if you had like, look at this cool machine here, and then this one's here is a little bit smaller, this one's got bigger screen, this one's a sit-down cabinet, this one's a stand-up cabinet? To me, it looks more like a real arcade if everything's different shapes and sizes. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think.
I got to pull up.
Yeah, I mean, like with the funny thing about that is that when you get that look of kind of the uniformity of an arcade room, in some ways, I really like it because it reminds me almost of like a Japanese style arcade, where you go and it's like all candy cabs or all one format looking machine. I have this really cool picture. I might be able to send it to you, Steven, so you can show it later.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
But it's a picture of a Disneyland arcade from the 80s in, I think, Tokyo Disneyland. And all the arcade machines look the same. Like it looks like something out of a synthwave picture, but they're all playing like different games. So I'm going to send that to you so we can check it out. So there is something cool about like that look of uniformity. But I also agree with your point of view, Dubs, where having different looking cabs throughout the arcade area is very natural to us because out here, that's how it was. Literally, like just everything was shaped differently. The only uniformity you had was that they were lined up next to each other, or in their little islands. So I agree with what you're saying.
Thanks.
But I think also that they
fun side note. Fun side note. The Japanese stuff.
Oh,
no,
I was gonna say is that's something I've been thinking about with mine because I have the Gen 1. Most of mine are Gen 1, and so I have a row exactly like Pdubs said, except that Golden Tee is mixed in there along with Miss Pac-Man, which has a little bit different shape. That's when they first started changing the look of it, and so I mixed it in there because otherwise it looks like a giant row of just cookie cutter, cabinets. So I've been thinking about like how can I get rid of them because people aren't going to buy them. So it's like, do I bite the bullet or just play them till they die? And I've chosen play them till they die.
Have I frozen?
No, you're back. You're back. You're good.
All right, sorry.
Your wife's streaming Netflix.
She's probably watching Netflix. The kid, he's probably
to be fair,
Call of War. He's probably playing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. right now because I can hear him dropping F-bombs down the hall.
To be fair, though, too, some of it could be coming from me as well. We had that strong winds. We've been under 40, 50 mile an hour winds. We lost power, and then, it could be affecting the internet. So just bear with us, guys. As long as you can hear the audio clear, we should be good, at least for today. So,
yeah. Oh, by the way, my son was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And I guess they have this proximity chat thing where, like, I guess if you're near other people, like, you can talk to them. Like, I guess it's automatic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
that's
play
pretty cool.
And the crap that I hear, oh my God, it has. People are so vulgar and rude and horrible to each other. And it's like, man, can you imagine if they did turn on voice chat on some of these arcades? Can you imagine some of these people who, like, apparently, if they're really good at, I don't know, let's just say Street Fighter 2, like acting, beating their chest, like, oh my God, you effing suck, I'm the king. I'm like, dude, it's a video game. You know what I mean? God,
hello.
All right,
you're not a.
I think we got a caller here really quick. He called,
All right,
I missed it, so I just hit redial. So you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi. My name is Mariah. I'm a very big fan of Jayde, and I just wanted to know, where did she get that lovely hat?
Who is that?
It's Zohar.
That sounds familiar.
That's Zohar.
Is that
Zohar.
Zohar?
I'm sorry, Mariah.
Mariah.
Yes.
Mariah.
Hi.
I actually got this off of Amazon.
Oh my God, I love it so much. I love your shows. And hi, Council Fanboy, wherever you are. You're so funny. Bye, guys.
See it. Thanks,
Love
Mariah.
you,
Bye, Mariah.
Bye, Mariah.
I didn't know. I saw that I missed it because I was on a different screen.
Oh, Mariah sounds so sweet.
Watch
your
out!
number
There'll
one
be a new YouTube account named Mariah and his last name, but I don't want to say his last name because I'll respect his privacy.
If you guys want to call in while Jade's pulling up some arcade pictures and things that we're going to be looking at here as well, 724-893-8603. You can call in. It is toll free. You can block your number. I'm not going to it doesn't tell me who's assigned to a number. I've got billions of numbers here. So don't worry about that. I'm not going to spam you. If I do miss your call, though, I will call you back so that way you can be on the air. But feel free to call in. 724-893-8603 is the number to be part of the show. Give your opinion. What do you think about this? Code Mystics, are they doing the right thing? Arcade 1-Up, are they doing the wrong thing? What's an arcade to you? All these topics that we're continually covering today.
Hey, let's talk about what's AAA.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
can we go down that controversial topic? Because I'm really tired of hearing that.
It is the dumbest, dude. I am so sick of hearing that crap.
Is that the same thing as bangers?
You know what? It's bangers.
Is that the same thing as a banger?
It's so subjective. Like, it's just so subjective. But even then, there is no factual anything that says anything about, like, especially old arcade games being AAA titles. I mean, that is a label that was borrowed from another industry completely.
All right, I think we got somebody here that wants to argue that point. Caller, you're on the air.
I just wanted to back up what Jay said earlier on about with the home arcade. I'm 15.
Oh, hang on. You're in the chat room. What's your name in the chat room so people know?
Yeah, you got to.
I'm Darkroom Arcade. My name is Tony, but I go.
Oh, hey Tony, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Tony?
Hey, Pdubs. Again, I love all you guys' shows on there. You guys have made me spend a whole lot of money, but it's a whole lot of fun also.
It's Jade's fault.
But I just kind of want to comment on there. I'm 58 years old. I was there during the golden age of the arcades. And this stuff they're putting out right now, it scratches the itch. It makes you feel like you're back there again. Because there's a few arcades that I go and hang out here recently, and it's like, and I remember, I love the arcades, but I remember why I don't, it's like the people. I mean, people are good and to hang out with and everything, but it's like, I don't know, it seems like maybe later that they're, and maybe it's just me and my age, because it's like a get off my yard type of thing on there, but the games are still fun, but the people anymore is like, there seems to be more rude in the arcades, so it's nice to have the home arcade to go back to and really enjoy the gameplay that you had, and then go back to the arcade again and try it out. To follow up with you on Tron, playing a real Tron game again after getting the one that Arcade One Up put out. It's close. It's their Arcade One Up is not quite right though. The things don't stack I mean, other than the things are heavy duty on the real one, but the spinners is a lot faster on the real arcade game, and I don't know. I mean, it's close with the one that they put out, but it's they could do better. Obviously, I think we've all been commenting on it. They could all do better. So,
what do you think about what we were talking about with the guys from Code Mystics? What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that Arcade One Up's going to embrace it, or do you think that it's a lost cause? It's not a lost cause from the community.
A one and done.
I think they'd be smart if they embrace it. No, I think they'd be smart if they embrace it. And next, it's going to sell them more hardware. Yeah. But it's like, for instance, with the holidays when there was the sales went on, I picked up one of the Attack from Mars pinball games, and was watching Kongs R Us on there and the modifications you can do to it. Now it's a pinball game. I mean, when it came out with the one set of 10 games in there, it's like, okay, this is okay, but I wouldn't have gone out and spent the money for the other two Marvel and the Star Wars games on there. But now when you play all the games together plus, and I hear they're working on even more than that. Now it's a game. It's like now you got a platform to build on top of.
Agreed.
True.
Agreed.
Good feedback.
Yeah. And that's why we wanted to ask. That's why we want to open this up to everybody. Tony, we appreciate it. Anything else that you got to say?
You guys keep doing what you're doing on there in Pdubs. Don't worry about the trolls. You do what you do, and just keep hanging in there, buddy. Because I love
wait, Tony. He's the biggest troll of them all. Don't let him fool you.
I am not.
You heard him he admitted to trolling us when we used to do these call-in shows.
That was a long time ago, and I only did it once. I was the guy that called in once.
Tony, did you watch Legend Center back 2 years ago?
I did. Watch you guys when you were doing all.
He trolled me every week. Every show he trolled me, and he's going to sit there and say he didn't troll me.
Yeah, but it makes for a good show. You guys always got the positive and the negative going on in the shows on there. Otherwise, you don't have the conflict, and it's good.
We had a good time. So. All right, man. We appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Guys, if you want to call in, appreciate that. Jade, I'm going to get those pictures pulled up. 724.
Pull up Brad's comment here.
I will. 724-893-8603 is the number. She's going off on AAA here. Here we go. I'm going to be quiet now.
Okay, so just to answer this, AAA is an informal classification. It's an adopted term that came from financial institutions that gaming developers use to describe the level of games that they're developing and the amount of money that goes into those games. I actually put a post of this on my community page so you guys can see it. But saying that a game is AAA anytime before the 90s is technically not applicable because the term wasn't adopted until the mid-late 90s. So as far as arcade games go, it's technically subjective. You can talk about the budget all you want, but the term was not adopted until the late 90s anyways. Now, if you want to apply it to financial figures, you can go look at all the games that had the most units sold and see, what you want to call AAA. But I think the problem with that whole era, or this assumption that games were AAA in that whole era, is that really until the 90s, until they started coming out with games like Street Fighter 2, all these other big devs, it was more like the dev companies were quote unquote AAA. Capcom is a AAA dev company. So Nintendo is a AAA dev company. All these companies that are big and huge that, Namco, that were coming out in the mid 90s and with these newer level of games, and a lot more money was being poured into development for games, that's when games really started adopting that term. And so, even today, it's still an informal classification, but it's a way for people to identify high budget games. So I just want to clarify. So, my point of view on it with that information is that all the older games, like from the golden age, it's really subjective. I mean, we all know what the big games in the arcades were. And if you go back and you look at the numbers, you're going to see that it pretty much aligns with what we think. But, you know, I could say, hey, RoboCop was a badass game. Like, that's a AAA game. But it's really not technically by definition a AAA game. But a lot of people played it. A lot of people remember it. A lot of people liked it. And it was a big game that was, all throughout arcades in the US. However, it doesn't make it a AAA game. So I think that that's pretty much applicable to any of those games that were, 90 and below, especially. But again, it's an informal classification, and it all has to do with revenue.
So what you're saying is Moon Patrol is AAA.
Well,
Got it.
Okay.
I'm just teasing you. Like this whole AAA nonsense it's gone way blown out of proportion. Like, I know sometimes this community blows some crap out of proportion. This whole conversation, like, literally, I'm so turned off by it. You know what I mean? Like, anytime I see someone
I agree.
and it's happening everywhere. It's on Reddit. It's on Facebook. It's on Discord. There's all these people fighting over what they think a AAA game is, and I want no part of it because I'm just so sick of hearing about it. I hope that makes sense.
Like, I'm not going to argue about what kind of games are AAA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to, put factual evidence out there for people to at least make a more educated, opinion or have to use as a part of their discussion. Like, I personally think that it's ridiculous and it's very gatekeepy. Like, there's this huge gatekeeping aspect of the home arcade community, and it's almost like it's growing in a certain respect. Like, you can't say that about my system or about my arcade because it's so good and I love it. Like, nobody cares. Like, people can say whatever they want, and if just because somebody doesn't like something that you like, or they want to talk trash on something that you like, it's not a big deal. I don't think people should be attacking each other on a personal level, but just because somebody doesn't like the same thing you like doesn't mean a damn thing. Like, it's not a big deal. And this whole AAA thing is part of that gatekeeping aspect of it. There's a very subjective side to it where people are saying that, games are AAA or are not AAA and blah, 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 that makes the game trash. Well, good. Who cares? That's your opinion, It's just, it's old. I feel like it's very old, and there's nobody's ever really pulling up factual information. Sometimes you see stuff like that, but nobody's really ever pulling up factual information, presenting that and using that in a discussion accurately to talk about these kind of things. And I don't think that it's really that important anyways, unless you're just throwing it in as a side note.
If you called in,
I'm just tired of the
no, that's fine. If you called in, I saw somebody called in. Call back. I was trying to get some things pulled up, but feel free to call back in.
Like, for instance, one of my favorite arcade games of all time, as a lot of people know, is Q*bert. And to me, Q*bert is a great game. It's what I would consider a great game. If I had to label it, would I put it under a AAA category if such a thing applied? Yes, but I'm not going to shove that down other people's throats. You know what I'm saying? Because, although I love Q*bert, and so do thousands of other people, there's thousands of people who think it's the worst freaking arcade game ever invented. So, like Jayde says, it's way too subjective. Basically, if you like it, it's AAA to you. If you don't like it, it's not AAA to you. But that doesn't mean it's not AAA to the guy who really loves playing that game. And this whole conversation and fights and stuff, it turns me off. It turns me off. I want no part of it. I see you all fighting Facebook. I'm gone. Scroll past that post. You know what I mean? It's so, at this point, it's become so annoying just to read and listen to people talk. I'm even annoyed that we're talking about it. No,
hey, now.
You know what I mean?
We got a caller. We got a caller. We could break
It's
away
annoying.
From this.
It's annoying to talk about.
Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hey, it's Travis. How you guys doing?
Hey, Travis. What's going on, brother?
What up?
Hi, Travis.
Hey. So, I go through this, or I went through this when I was doing more heavy tech phone stuff, because there was Android and there was, Apple fans, and I actually did videos on brand loyalty talking about how dumb it was, and I had to break it down to the first of all, I had to research it. Like, why do people feel so strongly about things that are inanimate objects? I can understand if like someone's calling your kid stupid or something and you want to fight people on it. I get that. But if someone's calling your quote AAA arcade cabinet something you didn't work on at all, like, why do you care? And I know a lot. I think I figured a lot of it out. And first of all, as humans, we're kind of trash. Like we're tribalistic about things, even if we don't necessarily think we are. It could be something as simple as soda or whatever the case may be. But if the more money we spend on something, the more people tend to put their own self-worth into it. So, for example, if I came over to your house and you were cooking dinner and you bring out some forks, I'm like, yeah, these aren't really great forks. You might go, well, that's a weird thing to say, but it probably wouldn't hurt your feelings. But if I go, man, your car or your house suck, that's a different story. Yeah. You spent a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of money, blood, sweat, and tears, put that together. All of a sudden, I'm attacking you. I mean, I'm not, but it feels like I'm attacking you. So for some of these arcade systems that cost $800 or whatever, a lot of people think that they're attacking the person, the sensibilities of the person who bought it, which is not typically the case. So things like AAA and all this other stuff are silly if you just step back from them because they don't mean anything. Like, who gives a crap? We're all here to supposedly play games and have fun, and people think that we're actually talking about each other. And then some people take it so much to the head that, like, they feel the need to destroy people, which is just cringy as hell. So, I mean, I look at this as someone who loves games and the community that can be here and the positive nature that I've seen, and I love that part. But to Pdubs' point, there are aspects of this that are absolutely toxic as hell. And it's like, bro, I'm a little bit kind of done with it myself. And I feel like what's going to happen is if the nature continues, you're going to get rid of all your favorite creators because they're going to be done.
Yep. No, you're spot on. You're 100% spot on.
I completely agree. And that tribalism aspect of it is gatekeeping. It's that like natural gatekeeping instinct that people have. It's almost like an egotistical thing.
Yeah. I mean, Travis, when I was doing tech too, it was always Windows versus Mac. It was always, you always had these arguments. You're spot on with this. And I think, like you said, with what the chat room is saying too, is, they get behind and they attack the person rather than attacking the product per se or calling out bad things or good things. I don't know where that line has crossed. I don't know at what point in time that happened.
Excuse me.
We call out Jayde every single time she's on here, but she still keeps coming back for more. So I mean, I don't know what it's going to take.
First of all, Brad and Rexer. I'm just going to call you guys out right now. Brad, you're bringing up Zohar on your videos randomly, and he's talking about the IRK. That has nothing to do with you. Rexer, you do personally attack people on your channel sometimes, and like, what do you expect? They're going to retaliate. It doesn't have anything to do with Arcade 1UP. However, I'm sure there's fanboys out there that get super butthurt and like leave you dirty comments or whatever. But like, don't play the innocent card here. All right. Once anybody, and this applies to anybody, if you make it personal and you start like talking crap on other people and attacking their actual character, you're going to start to piss people off and they're going to retaliate eventually. Like, you're going to get some sort of retaliation. I'm just calling it for how it is. All right. I mean, Zohar too, he's admitted openly that he just wants to be done with it. Like, he doesn't want to attack anybody personally. Just because he is talking crap on the iArcade doesn't mean anything. Who cares? Like, there's no relevance to it. It's what he is doing. He's not talking crap on anybody specifically except for the stupid arcade machine.
Listen, I'll be honest. That's why we walked away. That's why I walked away from the Retro Buzz when we were doing it, because I got tired of it. I mean, Travis, what you're saying here, man, Dubs knows. I told him many times, I'm like, dude, I can't do it anymore.
There have been a number of times where I have considered over the last 12 months canceling doing any kind of live streams on my channels. But I figured, whether it's Super Game Room Dudes, Multicade Mondays, I Hate Mondays, all my podcast shows, like, I really just wanted just to go to making short form produced content, because apparently there was just so much drama and fighting when people huddle up like this, we're all huddled up together having a conversation, but it turns nasty instead of a bunch of adults talking about awesome video games that we grew up playing that we get to play again. There have been a number of times I've wanted to yank all my live content to get away from it, but if I do that, I think I would let some like the negative energy win, right? So I'm going to keep going and focus on positive. And I forget. So, and yeah, there's too much of that, guys. Like, so for instance, let me give you an example. Like, Zohar does not like the iArcade. He makes content that he doesn't like the iArcade.
And that's fine.
And that's fine. I if he makes an iArcade video, I usually don't watch it then if I like the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and also he's attacking, or whether it's attacking or criticizing, whatever word you want to use, if he's going after them, it has nothing to do with me personally or my YouTube channel. I don't work for that company, so why do I care, right? When Rex goes off on Arcade 1UP, like, he's not coming at me personally. He's talking about the company. He's going after the company. It has nothing to do with it. But yeah, once you start actually like personally going after somebody, that's crossing the lines and all that shit.
And it's been done. It's been done too much in this community, too many times. Too many times.
Stop. It needs to stop. Like, for instance, like, I'll give you an example here. So I try, and we all try our best. I don't know about everybody, but I try to be as fair as possible. So, like, I reviewed the At Games Legends Ultimate Mini, and I did not recommend the product in my review. I say, you don't need to buy this product. I get told by everyone in the comments, thank you for your honesty, thank you for your honesty, thank you for your honesty. I review the At Games Legends Pinball Micro, 2 products from the exact same company. I give it a positive review because I enjoy the product and I recommend the product in my review. I now see on other live streams and on Twitter that I am being accused of shilling the product because I genuinely like it. Travis, let me ask you a question. When did YouTube turn into the only time you're honest is when you're shitting on something?
I know. It's the truth has never been spoken so clearly on a stream about the way viewership and stuff. You know what it is? In this particular community, I've noticed, because it's still smaller, like it's growing, but it's still smaller than like tech and stuff. But the reality is that there's a big echo chamber. And what I've noticed here specifically is if one person says a word and then a second person agrees, it becomes this thing. The whole AAA thing is part of that. The whole shill thing, I think the shill thing is more recent, and everyone knows where that came from. A couple people said it once or twice, and all of a sudden it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, these things didn't exist a year ago. It's one person or 2 people saying something, and then it becomes toxic across the entire community. And the reality is, those people are not just gatekeeping new people from coming in and enjoying what they supposedly like as well. They're keeping larger companies who might want to invest in these things from coming in too. Who wants to go into a toxic community and try to sell to anyone? Like, who wants to give people cool opportunities to do things if all they're doing is crapping on people? It is the cringiest, dumbest stuff I've ever seen. The only reason I stay is because of things that I see with, like, all 3 of you guys are great. I've talked to all of you, offline or whatever. You're all cool. We've had great times. Last night, I turned on my KI. I saw so many people playing in lobbies, and I just watched people play. It brought back that nostalgia. That's why I stick around, because that's why most of us play these games. That's why most of us buy these. Are they toys? Yeah. So what? Like, who cares that they're not full on with a power tube that I'm going to have to replace every 6? No one gives a crap, bro. We want to relive the nostalgia of our younger years. That's the whole reason we do this. I don't care that this is not the perfect Pac-Man. I don't give 2 single shits. I have a cool feeling when I play it and my friends play it. That's all I care about. You don't need to call no one names over that. Get over it.
Travis, I've said that, like, when I have game nights, like tonight, I have people come in. There's only one comment that's ever come up about any of these arcades, and that was on the At Games Legends pinball, the right flipper's lagging. So I bought some buttons. I've seen that was a problem, but nobody's ever said, well, the emulation's not perfect on this. Nobody's ever said, you know what, T2, it used to have the fixed guns in the front, and the screen was back and slanted down. No, they were like, this is awesome. Like, that's the response. So you're 100% spot on. But I think as analysis, when we get on here and reviewers and things like that, I think we separate that, right? Because we do want the product better, but in the same but in the same fashion, it doesn't. If we're all honest, it really doesn't bother us that bad, right? Just like the online stuff. I've been very outspoken about it. I don't care. I don't care about the online stuff. But that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people don't. I think that there's a big difference between like, creators or people trying to point out like facts that are issues with products, or point out something that they think can be done better or that they don't like about the product or what makes it so that they don't like that product. Like, and people are getting chastised for it, which, okay, sure, that's to be expected. But when you start taking it to another level and literally like harassing and personally attacking people,
like
and
what's going on in the chat room right now,
right, and continuing to go, everybody plays this victim card, and it's like, stop being a baby. Like, you're a grown adult. Handle business. If you don't like what somebody's saying about you, you're not going to change it. You're on the internet. Stop acting like a baby. Get over it.
Oh wait, and
If
so
you don't like the fact that I'm pointing out facts about whatever it is that we're talking about, that people are doing X, Y, and Z, get over it.
Hey, Amy,
Like,
we aren't defending Zohar. Let's
No
make
one's
that
defending Zohar.
Yeah, she said if you're
No
all
one's
honest,
defending-
Zohar has
no one's defending anyone right now.
No one's
And this
defending
is what
anyone,
I'm
yeah.
talking about. This
No,
is the
no,
type
she
of
said
victim-
if you're all honest, Zohar's attacked every one of us. Stop defending. We're not defending him. In fact, we've asked and talked to Zohar about, like, that's it. Enough is enough. Don't come in here and do that kind of stuff, or any channel for that matter. So we're 100% not defending. We're not defending anybody here. Everybody has their own views. Everybody has their own viewpoint. But as far as this show goes right now, where we're at, you're on our show. We call the shots.
I thought we were talking in general.
Yeah, we were talking in general about
Right.
it. Hey, Travis, I sent you a message through the voice calling system. If you want to jump on with us as a fourth panelist, if you got
so here's
time.
the thing.
If
I
you
just
got
really
time.
wanted to talk about this. I have time, but I also don't want to. I'm not trying to become like a creator in this community. You guys are
Understood.
amazing. Like, I love watching you guys. I don't ever want to take away from you guys. I've made that clear. Pdubs has heard me say this in another chat. And I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to become an arcade influencer or creator. I don't want to do that. I want to watch and it's just, as a viewer,
Yeah.
it's really frustrating and annoying to see people act like 12-year-olds and not even understand, like, why. Like, really?
Yep.
Is this what you're complaining about? Like, we got things in the world that are really happening right now, and you're worried because someone doesn't like it's a AAA. Are you freaking kidding me?
Wait a
Like,
second, Travis.
Yeah.
Don't start on the bat tops versus the ball tops.
I mean, don't even get me
I'm-
started about
Dude,
it.
I'm gonna hit the hang up button. Don't even go there.
So this is.
But listen,
this is
can I just say one
this
thing?
is-
Like, one more thing before I
Yeah,
go.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I love, like, I have my at games is one of my favorite things that I have. I almost got an iArcade a couple times. If they had a couple more games that I want, 100% would get it. Obviously, I have arcade one-ups. Like, I like them all. I don't give a crap. I don't think one is better than the other. They just they serve different purposes, right? It should literally be, you look at a fork, you look at a spoon, you have no idea who makes either one. Does the fork work for what you want to use it for right now? Yes? Oh, it's a great fork then. If there's some problems where the tine is bent,
Yep.
sure, call that out. You should absolutely call that out.
Agreed.
But to tell someone that the fact that they use a fork when they should use a spoon is cringy as shit. Stop it.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I have to say.
What Travis is saying is, you all need to buy more sporks. Is what you guys need. Grab a lot of sporks. But yeah, let's get off that. Let's get off that. We opened Pandora's box by talking about AAA. So let's get off.
Well,
that. So-
Travis,
Hey,
do you
I
want to
will-
address Rexer really quick? He says, a viewer isn't Travis doing streams making new announcements? I think he's.
I have been.
Yeah.
So what does that got to do with anything? Like, literally.
Well,
the
you were
question
working-
is, I'm being honest.
But you were working, as a tech guy, you were working with Code Mystics. I mean, people should be happy if you have KI that you now have a better functioning machine at no cost
Exactly.
to you.
I don't understand the question. Is there an actual question there, or
I'm just like,
was that just a statement of obvious fact? I don't know. It's hard to know with him.
yeah.
What is he trying to say?
I don't know. That was
I'll
the
answer
whole thing.
questions. I don't mind. There's nothing to hide.
Well,
I did
I just
call
wanna say
Shelion a
this.
shill, though. I did.
in the chat though, like, to whom it applies, like, stop blasting other people because you're butthurt about what they have to say.
Yeah.
It's simple.
It should be fun. This should literally be fun all the time. There should never be a
Right.
moment this isn't fun.
I think debating about it is fun with a lot of people. They like to debate some of the issues, but it's not deal breaker for a lot of the guys in the chat room that I've seen. They're always like, yeah, this could be better, but it's not like, hey, I'm going to sell my machine. I hate this and I hate that. Dubs, you pointed out things many times that things aren't the greatest, but you know what? You've moved on, and you're just like, yeah, we still play it, and you just tolerate it.
We used to have this saying in the military where we'd say it's just business. Somebody would get screamed at because they screwed up, and they would just get blasted. And then 5 minutes later, we'd be like, "Hey, what's up?"
So Rexer followed up Travis, and he says, "So how is that a viewer?" He says, "Wait, hang on." He said he's a viewer,
tester, just like everyone else. Yeah, I am a viewer. I'm a viewer of content. What does a viewer of content have anything to do with being a beta tester? Like, they're completely separate things.
I think he's referencing because you were on a show, and if you're on a show, you're not a viewer.
So I can't have a YouTube channel too? I can't be on live stream just because I'm a viewer. I'm not a content creator in the arcade space.
No, that's illegal. You
didn't
know that?
The thing about the thing about this is some people pretend to ask questions. They're like gotchas, but they're dumb. They're like, don't even think them through. Any viewer, which by the way, there are people who are in that beta test that don't have YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm.
They've worked just as long as I did. So what's the difference?
So what do you think, before we let you go, Travis, what do you think, and I mentioned this earlier about Code Mystics, if Arcade 1-Up doesn't bite on this, what do you say they start
they're dumb if they don't.
They would be dumb.
Can I rant? Because here's the thing. I'll tell you right now, the funniest thing about this is people think that, like, I'm in love with Arcade 1-Up. Let me tell you something about Arcade 1-Up. They are dropping the frickin' ball. Oh, I'm a shill, but I'm going to say something bad about Arcade 1-Up. Shut your face. Let me finish what I'm saying. Arcade 1-Up has been given a gift. With all the bad press they've gotten over the last couple of months, Code Mystics, like some type of angel out of the sky, has given them good feelings within the community. If they don't double down on this and take advantage of this blessing to their product line, they are idiots. Would a shill say that?
No, I think that's fair. Well, and that's what I was saying. If they don't, because we know how Arcade 1-Up has been in the past, would Patreon be a way for them to, get the community involved to help them to continue any kind of progression with KI?
So funny you say that.
Arcade 1-Up needs. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so funny you say that. A couple months back, when John D was on a stream somewhere, I asked, "What about crowdfunding spectating?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because around that same time, and I'm not saying they're connected because I don't think they are, but around that same time, Code Mystics started working on this, but I didn't know about it. I had no idea. I had no discussions with the Code Mystics at that point. But I know they saw that stream. So the thing is, it kind of started with people are so anxious about this that they might be willing to put money in, and Code Mystics is like, well, we could just do it, I guess. Which they wouldn't. And by the way, any business shouldn't be doing as much work as they did for free with no promise of getting any kind of money back. They did it because they love the community. I love to see any other company in this community do that.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck finding them.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
We appreciate it, Travis. Anything else you wanna say to anybody in the chat room here? They've all calmed down. It seems like they've calmed down.
Games are great. Enjoy the freaking ability that we've never thought we would have growing up, which is literally you can have an arcade in your freaking house. Go back in time, tell 15 or 16-year-old you that's standing in line waiting to play that game you can't wait to play. There's a crowd around. People are putting their quarters up on the thing. You're like, I'm going to get in there. Go to that kid.
Yep.
Tell them, do you know when you're an adult, you're going to have an entire room filled with these games, and you can play them anytime you want.
That's right.
Imagine how you would feel back then. We live in the coolest time for retro. If you are spending 2 minutes hating on any of this, you're kind of trash. and I'll just leave it at that. But you guys are great.
I appreciate it, Travis. Enjoy
Bye.
the rest of the show. And guys in the chat room, I see there was a comment I want to go back to if we can. I don't have the whole thing pulled up here, but he was talking about Red Sea Gaming. Let me pull him up real quick, and I'm going to try to if you guys see the rest of it. He says, to be honest, this is such a turn off. I like watching content with substance, but all this attacking is corny. Why does everyone keep? I got to go back over here. Why does everyone keep attacking each other? Blah 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 blah. All right.
I didn't attack anybody.
He's not talking about us. He's just saying because in the chat room. But this is what I wanted to say. Some of these YouTubers that are just getting started and they're attacking each other in the chat room, and you're asking yourself, because I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I just do live streams, but I do YouTube videos. You wonder why your channel's not growing and other channels are growing. Ask yourself that question. People don't want to be around negativity. If they are around negativity, there's certain channels for that, and that's why that channel plateaus. That's the reality. If you're somebody that's like Pdubs, we always say like you're the hype man, right? People want that kind of a feeling. They want to go watch a video where the guy's like, guys, this is so exciting. Can you believe that you added this to a cabinet? This is great. Even though I might be sitting there going, that's the dumbest thing. I would never buy that. But you know what? Your enthusiasm behind it is what's bringing people to watch it. Jayde's intelligence behind a mod, it makes the guy that has the Terminator 2 go, oh, man, like I want to do that.
Yeah. So I don't have any intelligence. Thanks, Tech Buzz. Great.
Well, I had to throw a little I was complimenting you. I was complimenting you, but I had to throw a little dig at you there too. Come on, man. It wouldn't be.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Appreciate it.
Okay,
well,
so
I think the show's gone on long enough.
Do we have those pictures?
I do have those pictures. I was going to pull them up.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go here. Come on.
Okay, so this is Disneyland, or actually this is Walt Disney World in the 80s, and this is the Starcade, or no, sorry, not Walt Disney World, Tokyo Disneyland in the 80s, and this is their Starcade. So all of their arcade cabinets have the same design, but if you look, you can see the control panels will vary, and they're all playing different games in them. And so I think I sent you about 4 pictures.
Yep.
But it looks so like, even the video game marquee, it looks so like synthed out.
But this looks space age, don't it, Dubs? It looks like a space age arcade. It doesn't look like a retro arcade.
But this is literally an arcade from, the 80s. That's the best thing about it.
Right, but it does. Compared to our arcades, this looks space age. It looks like you'd find it on like a distant planet, the way it's laid out.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying because of all the sleekness being the exact same size.
Like with the way everything is packed in, though, there's also so many games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like they're the candy cabs before candy
Tomorrowland,
cabs.
yes. Matt Astor Gaming in the chat room.
Yeah, Tomorrowland in Tokyo. I think Tokyo. I'm just trying to remember which was the first Disneyland that was outside of the States, and I'm pretty sure it was Tokyo. But anyways, I thought it was just really cool because I was doing research for the Starcade and the evolution of it. And these machines are just something unique that you just don't see really anywhere else. And it's the same thing today. I feel like if you go to an arcade, that is in Japan, you're going to see a lot of candy cabs. So it's very uniform, kind of.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I enjoyed looking at those photos. That's very cool.
But then now if you look behind Dubs, like that to me screams 80s arcade because they're all, for the most part, different shapes and sizes. You got the pinball tables in there, the stuff on the walls and stuff. That's what I try to do in my end, and I know a lot of guys do that. They put decor. That makes it more 80s in my opinion. The one I'm telling you, the ones that you showed there, they just look really Tomorrowland. I guess that's the best way to put it, right?
It's cool.
Tomorrowland. Dubs, you need another cup of coffee, man. You're hurting.
It's just it's noon here, Buzz. I got stuff to do, man. No offense. I love you guys, but
it's not noon. It's 11. That's all right.
It's noon.
If you
I'm
have
here, I'm on Mountain Time. It's
noon. Oh, you're too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Today is it's Christmas party season, right? So my wife's company is doing their big Christmas outing this weekend. So I have to go with my wife to her company outing and dinner and party
No worries.
and all that today. So
If you got
you know what stinks about that though is I found out I'm going to have to get dressed up a bit. And working from home, I really don't put on the button-up shirts and the slacks very much anymore. You know what I mean? So I'm not really looking forward to getting and putting on the nice dress shoes. Like I'm not looking.
Well, before you jump, somebody's got a question here for you. Pdubs.
Yeah, so I have it. It's downstairs. You're talking about that Crosley jukebox that I got from Walmart or Sam's Club, one of those places for $500. Yeah, I still have it. The unit I had was last year's model that has issues with there's a firmware update that's needed for like the remote control because there's an issue with the remote control and there's something wrong with one of the internal boards. Like honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. I heard this wave of jukeboxes that because they're selling them again. Apparently, this is a seasonal item, so that $500 Crosley jukebox you guys will find in Walmarts and stuff. Supposedly, those issues are fixed on this next wave that's probably in stores now. So, but the one I got from last year had some issues with it. You know what I mean?
It's still a lot of money for a jukebox.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, so yeah, I still have it. You know, I did the fixes that the company recommend, and it works. I wouldn't recommend playing records on it though, because the needle is cheap ass, and it'll scratch. Like play records that you really don't give a care about, like not your good stuff. You know what I mean?
So you're not playing your old Elvis collection on it?
No, like just like cheap. You know how like Walmart sells records now? Like I didn't even know this, because I do most of my shopping online.
Yeah, they sell records. Yep.
But you go to the electronics section, and it's kind of funny. Like my arcade went up section that was in my Walmart is all records now. Like records for like the latest music coming out. And I don't get out much, so I'm not the shopper in the family. So that surprised me. But like records like that are like $9-10 from Walmart. And you're not too worried if they get scratched up from a cheap needle. You could use those, but I wouldn't recommend putting like you're really like I got this classic Def Leppard record. I wouldn't play that on there and ruin it. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have any? I think we're going to go a little bit longer, but do you have any parting words since you have to jet?
Can't we all just get along? You know what I mean?
You sound like it.
And it's just video games. And I know a lot of us are sensitive. And keep in mind, negative critical feedback helps content creators get better, as well as it helps companies get better. And that stuff is fine. But keep in mind, guys, we're all human, and there is a line. And when you cross that, there's a line to be crossed. You know what I mean? So like, just try and be aware of the line. That's it. Where it goes beyond the message that you're trying to send, and it ruins the message that you're trying to send when you cross that line. So hope that's the best advice I can give you. Appreciate you guys having me on. If you enjoyed the stream, give us a thumbs up on the way out, because I won't be able to say that later on. And I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a great day.
All right, Dubs. See ya.
I just want to say that Dubs is wrong there, because I'm perfect, okay? And I never make a mistake, and I want to tell everybody else how imperfect they are, so you're a piece of crap, Steven.
She says that after he gets off. You notice that? He leaves the show. And
I didn't want to upset him any more than he already was.
But you know what he did do? Look at this. That was his last frame before he got off. So occasionally we're going to pull this up, right? That's why I didn't say anything. So Dubs, what do you think? So Dubs, you think that this is probably the best show, right? And you think I'm a better content creator than you, right? I could have so much fun with this.
Oh,
you're a shill, right,
man.
Pdubs? He's never going to do this again. He's going to go back and watch this, and he's going to be like,
right.
What have I done?
How dare you?
I'm kidding. He's not a shill. And it's not about better content creators. I'm just having a little fun here.
Joke.
Just having a little fun here before People lose their mind and they start messaging him going, Haywood said that he's a better content. It was a joke, just because of his, Pdubs loves when nostalgia takes off his shoes. So, anyways, so I think this was good. I think a lot of venting session. You guys can call in. You got anything to add to this? Do you disagree with anything that was said? And that's fine if you do. We're not going to hang up on you. 724-893-8603. I'm not keeping phone numbers, so you don't have to worry. Yeah, that picture. Hey, you guys want to screenshot it? You can. 724-893-8603. Go ahead, screenshot it. Hey, look, I'll even do you one better. There you go.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Go ahead and do your screen caps. And listen, I encourage you guys, screen capture, put little what are those cartoon bubbles of things that he says, and then hashtag it Pdubs says, and put it all over social media. He's going to love me for this. Actually, you know what would be a good one? He's wearing Nostalgia shirt. You could put Nostalgia is my hero. I think that would be hilarious.
That's a good one.
You do Nostalgia is my hero. I figure you guys will have a ball with that. The Super Game Room dudes will have a ball with that on a Friday night. He's not gonna have a ball with it. He's gonna be like, "Why would you do that to me?" But I think going forward, I'm really hoping my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 ships this week. I'm hoping.
Oh my gosh.
I'm serious. Like, I'm chomping at the bit now because it's
what
December 3rd. It's December 3rd. Not to rehash this from Thursday. I'm not gonna. But did anybody else in the chat room? Did you buy from Arcade 1UP, from Wave 2, from their website? I'd be curious. Did you get any kind of notification that yours shipped? You would kind of make me feel better if you did. That means mine could possibly be notified to be shipping. But I did see Limited Run Games started sending out their Castlevania collection, which a buddy of mine, Mr. Rightway, he got his big box. He got the big ultimate thing of the Castlevania collection. I just got, I think, the hardcover version that's in a retro Castlevania box from like Nintendo or whatever. They should be shipping. So if you did any pre-orders with that or any of the other games, but I saw you ordered on Switch. Windjammers. I also have that coming. Mine will be here, I think, the 8th.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. Like, Scarlet Sprite made a video where he was talking about some Neo Geo stuff and talked about Windjammers too. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about that. And of course, it's limited run. So I had to run over and order it. And fortunately, I was able to get it, at the normal price.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I've got to jump on that because I love Windjammers. I'm not even that good at it, but I love that game.
So MG, I'm guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. You see what he says? Only a fool would buy Wave 2 direct. Guilty as charged.
Yeah. Oh, man. But you had it in your shopping cart 20 times.
I know. But again, listen, it's about the experience, right? So I don't know about you. When you do reviews, anybody else that's content creator in the chat room, I did this even with tech. I would get a product for review, and I would purposely call about the simplest thing, even though I knew how to fix or do or work a feature, right? I would purposely call their customer support, see how long I was on hold for, see if that customer service rep was helpful, and that would go into my review when I said, well, their customer service is pretty good. I can't go off of their, word on it. And so my thing was, everybody complains about you get a product from like Walmart and it's all banged up the box and that. I've never, ever ordered anything directly from Arcade 1UP. So I was really curious to see how my box is going to show up. And I know the shipping companies do things, but just to see if it's a different experience. And communication, it takes like 48 hours for them to email you back. For people that they don't want to spend that kind of money and then they got to wait 48 hours for a response, at best, they're at a C-level customer support. And you want to be that A-level, customer support. So that's part of why I did it direct. And because Jayde and B, B told me that Walmart had it that night. He says, cancel your one up. He said, get it here. I'm like, nah, I got to go through with this because I want to do this to find out how it is. So, again, it's my fault. But I was going to say, when you guys were talking about AAA titles, the only thing I know about AAA is the ones that come for your car, when you're sitting on the side of the road.
Oh, right.
That's the only thing I know about AAA.
Somebody made a joke about that on Twitter too.
I've never heard that before this community, to be honest.
What, AAA?
AAA, I've never heard.
I'd
people
only
state
heard it
that.
in like the console or game, like
but not
newer
arcades.
gaming community. Like Cyberpunk was a
Yes.
AAA title,
but not the arcades.
I mean, but you're
right?
talking like You're talking like massive budget, right?
Yes.
Like that's
Sony.
what I'm thinking.
Sony would do for like what, Spider-Man or
right, like a massive budget.
Yeah.
Like you're hiring voice actors. You've got all this dev time and tech going into the development of the game. I mean, massive. That's what I think of. And you could say that's why I think like especially the applicable era starts in like the mid 90s because that's kind of when games started to get like a lot more dev heavy, I guess. But anyways, yeah, I don't want to rehash that.
No, I didn't bring that up to rehash it. I just thought that was kind of funny. So my question to everybody out there is, now with the latest announcement of the Killer Instinct, you have the spectate mode, you have basically lobbies and stuff. How many of you guys were on the fence before about getting Killer Instinct? Now you wish you would have taken part on, what was it, Black Friday that they had, or was it Cyber Monday that they had it for $220 or $250? I know I'm kind of kicking myself because now it's $399.
$299 with that discount code was a crazy good deal, especially with this update out. I mean, it was a crazy good deal. If you're, I mean, Killer Instinct is also one of those games where I feel like if you buy it, it's because you actually know how to play it or want to play it. But with the online update and all that, if you're big into online gaming and you really like fighting games and particularly Killer Instinct, it was a great buy for that price.
I do like it more than Mortal Kombat. That was a game my son and I play. We played the latest one on the Act Games, streaming from Steam. And so I enjoy the Killer Instinct more personally. My brother and I, we played it on, SNES and N64. But my thing was, again, how arcade, I don't want to throw more money, but had I known what I know now about these lobbies, I may have bitten the bullet and bought it for, $220. How can you pass that up? Or $250? For me, it was more a point. Like, I'm not dropping the money for that. So a lot of guys are saying nope. And Juan, go ahead and you can throw in your whatnot stream. I guess you're doing a whatnot stream later or whatnot. See what I did there? You can definitely put that in there. I think I agree with Travis on all this where he says that they're stupid. I think there's no doubt about, I think everybody, even if they don't have Killer Instinct in the chat room, they're saying Arcade 1-Up is stupid if they don't get on board with this.
Yes.
But
and that
Arcade 1-Up, does stupid things.
Yes, that's also true. But I think that historically, what Pdubs was saying historically is true. And I wouldn't have faith in it for that reason either. It's an opportunity, and it's a good opportunity for them to make things better, not only for their consumers, but for themselves as well. And just the fact that Code Mystics went out of their way to do this on their own time for the community is such a huge thing in itself. And I think that it'll never really be recognized properly, like how huge and big of a deal it was for them to do this. But it is a big reason for Arcade 1-Up to be like, okay, let's reach out and let's figure this out. Let's do something better. Let's work with them because they could be our saving grace. I think that if they did that, even if the company survives, if they did that, they would flourish compared to if they don't. I think that they're not going to do as well.
I'm going to bring up this conversation you and I had the other day where, and I think people fail to realize this too, is Tastemakers is a huge company. And Arcade 1-Up is just a little branch off of Tastemakers. It's a percentage of their business. Let's just say it's like 7% or 5% of their business.
Right.
Do they really care about this community enough to be like, yeah, we're going to listen to everything? I mean, because this is the same company that made the Furbies, and that was viral over Christmas, and people were beating each other up in the Hatchimals. I remember when my kid wanted, I'm sure your kids wanted a Hatchimal when they came out, back when they did the little eggs and they have the little animal in it. So this company has been very successful, multi-million-dollar company. We make it like Arcade 1-Up is Tastemakers, but I don't really believe that is the case, because they are making toys, and I'm not slamming anybody for that. But do you think that if you break down the percentage and how much money and revenue is coming off these cabinets, even if they shut down Arcade 1-Up tomorrow, it's going to hurt the company? I would say no.
I agree. I mean, you're just not gonna, you're not really gonna put a dent in them, but I do think that people aren't gonna have faith in the company, and it has happened in the past where, a company does enough damage to themselves where and I'll read this super chat in just a second. Thank you, Juan. But where they're hurting themselves by not interacting with their consumers. And even if it is just a small portion of Tastemakers, it still reflects on them to all these other big IPs out there. If anything, if you want to talk corpo politics, I think that that's where they're going to get hurt more than anything, especially when those big IPs see what their consumers are saying and what influencers are saying, because any big company knows that you can rely heavily on YouTube for marketing in many ways. And so let me just read this. I want to say thank you to Juan for the super chat. And also, this is a really nice way to promote something that you're doing on your channel in another chat, because I see a lot of people go into chats and just throw up things and say, hey, so-and-so is going live. Hey, I'm doing this on my channel. Like, guys, that's kind of rude. So the fact that Juan came in and asked and then super chatted is like really nice and very professionalist. So, hey, if anyone likes anime statues, I will be on Whatnot in 2 hours. Look up Dark Knight 336 and or search anime figures. Come chill with me there. So thank you for that, Juan. You guys check Juan out. And just keep that in mind, guys. Like, if you're going into the other people's streams, like, have some decency and like ask before you throw things up, and also don't raid other people's streams saying that something else is going live. That's rude.
So Mr. Doug over on Facebook, you guys know Mr. Cool Toy, he says Arcade 1-Up revenue is the majority share of Tastemakers revenue. So okay, so he just confirmed then that. And I asked him what percentage, because I don't know if he knows, or if, because he knows a lot of the back end stuff where he sees when they're shipping stuff. He investigates. If that's the case, that's a big problem. That just throws a whole monkey wrench in my thought process.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I can't really speak on it because I don't know enough about like where their company is at right now, but it's crazy to think that like that's majority of.
Okay. He just said, Scott said years ago that Arcade 1-Up took over the revenue share a long time ago. So there you go. If that's the case, then they need to start listening, because this could be very bad for the company. Then, like, originally I thought, well, maybe this is not a deal breaker. Maybe it's only like 5%, but based on that statement, that's bad. Like they're going. I mean, with the quality control and everything, they need to pay attention. Then this is This is make or break. This is playoff time, baby.
Yeah, I mean, if that is true, then they probably should really be a lot more concerned about their consumer base and what the influencers are saying on YouTube. And I mean, the other thing is that this is very niched on YouTube.
Mhm.
And I mean, everybody sees what everybody's doing. You know, if you start at one channel, it doesn't matter how big or small the channel is, you will spiral through a ton of other channels and see a ton of information. So I don't, and you know, in a lot of ways, forget who I was talking to this about a few days ago, but I was talking about how Arcade went up. I don't know if they were prepared to go to the level that they got to with this home arcade stuff. I don't know if their business model was prepared for it. And when I say that, what I'm basically getting at is the marketing aspect of it and the consumer base aspect of it. I don't know if they ever thought that they were going to get in as deep as they are with their consumer base. And I don't think that they knew how to handle it when the situation got to where it's at now. I don't think that they were prepared for it. And I mean, I'm only pointing that out because I've been thinking about why they've done some of the things they've done and why they've showed a lack of interaction or support towards the consumer base. And the only answer that I can come up with is that they literally were not prepared for it and they don't know how to handle it. And their marketing department isn't big enough or educated enough in the speech department to be able to articulate correctly what they're doing about these situations and how they're trying to handle it, even in a very blanketed, formal manner.
Yeah, Doug says they don't care what YouTube says. All that matters are sales figures. Until those decline sharply, nothing changes. And
right, they don't care what YouTube says.
Right.
And I agree with that 100%. However, what I mean to say is that the YouTube community is so niche and there's so much information out there that people will spiral through with their own experiences that eventually those are going to cross paths and there's going to be it's going to become some sort of detriment to their financial
bottom line.
situation.
Yeah. I want to ask everybody in the chat room, those of you that are still watching here, and feel free to call in and give a comment on this. But have you seen a lot of creators, your favorite creators, not just me or some of these other ones, but have you seen over the trends more and more that these content creators are being more critical of Arcade 1-Up now? Have you seen the trend of videos that you're watching now? Guys that used to be really Arcade 1-Up can't do any wrong. And that's not throwing shade at anybody. I'm just because eventually that's going to hurt them too because it's negative press, right? And I understand there's no such thing as negative press. I've heard that before. But the guys, it's almost like the brand, Jayde, people are losing faith in the brand that they are nitpicking everything and making a video about it, which in turn is going to hurt the brand overall because that consumer that's watching 50 million content creators, and I'm not talking about the community, that mom or pop that wants to buy this for their grandkid on Christmas morning, they're going to YouTube now for reviews and they're seeing like 50 reviews of this cabinet going, yeah, it's trash, it's this, it's that. I mean, even if they don't understand it, they get 50 videos that are telling them you should buyer beware. That eventually hurts the pocketbook if enough people see that, right?
Right. And that's kind of what I mean by that. And so it's not that I expect them to care about YouTubers or anything, but I'm saying one way that you can combat all this information is to at least address it publicly, because then you're going to have YouTubers who are going to talk about it. They're going to say, oh, well, this is what Arcade 1-Up said, and then they're going to have their opinion about it. But if they're making some sort of formal release statement about the situations that they're having or what they plan to do to improve it, I think that gives the overall consumer base a little bit more faith in the product. When nobody is seeing any communication from them and they're just being mute, that looks even worse.
There's a comment there from Arcade Amy.
Yes, they're being more critical because they are trying to look more honest since half of them get freebies or paychecks. I don't know how accurate that is. That's a very
Well,
generalized statement. I think that, you know,
I know I
I
don't get
think that's
freebies, and I'm honest and
right.
critical.
I don't get freebies either. I have never gotten anything from Arcade One Up. They have never asked me
Oh,
to do any content for
I
them.
did get a T-shirt from them. I did get a
Um,
T-shirt from them.
I haven't even got a T-shirt, but
Ha! They like me more than you.
um, and I think that if people are doing that and they like doing it and they like their products, that's fine. But I mean, even if you look at most of the YouTubers who cover primarily Arcade One Up stuff, they haven't been praising what Arcade One Up is doing. And I think that when you look at stuff like Blitz and people talking about Blitz Online, they're the whole Blitz Online thing is in beta. And this is just an example, but they're just talking about it and showing people because there are still people who would like to buy Blitz and play it online. I'm not one of those people,
Mm-mm.
but I think that the online dev is important for people to know about. And so that's not being a shill. Just because there's people who are excited about the online play, that it's actually starting to function now. And it's in beta. We all know that. They're excited to share it and show people what it can do now. And so people want to get involved in that. That's not being a shill.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I expand on that real quick? When PS5 was
please do.
launched, I watched a bunch of content creators I had never heard of before, or some content creators that had like, I don't know, like 2,000 subs. And they started covering because everybody had obviously was having a hard time getting a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. So they started showing like different websites where you could go to find out if they were in stock or find out if, um, you could get it online. And these content creators would sit here like I am now, and they would show the website and show people like, go in here and you could get an auto
I
refresh
remember
bot for
this.
your page. And guys' channels were jumping. They went from like 2,000 subs to almost 15 to 20,000 subs. They weren't shilling. They were providing a service, and they were basically giving the information of a hot topic at the time. And I think a lot of people get this misnomer, like you see guys putting out videos for anything and everything that Arcade One Up will do. Arcade One Up will drop a cabinet on the floor, and somebody will do a video on it. And I'm not picking on anybody here. And the reason for that is they're trying to become a news source for that particular product. So you, the viewer, trust them on their analogy or on their review and building a rapport with the community. So we have to be very cautious of how we identify somebody as a shill, or
Right.
because I know people that quote unquote shill, and I'm not naming names, and we won't go like Travis said, we brought that up, that do get cabinets for free, and they call it straight down the middle, and so I think you just have to be careful with that. And I'll be honest, back when we did the Retro Buzz, when NBA Jam first came out, Arcade One Up was going to sponsor us. They sent me, Doug, and Glenn the NBA Jam cabinet. We got that for free. And we were supposed to get that early so we could help test the online feature, and you guys know what happened with that, the great big debacle of online. And that was it. That was the only time, and that was because they were really trying to push this online thing, and they dropped the ball. They realized they messed up, and they cut ties with us because we were helping at games with stuff, as beta testers and whatnot. Just being completely transparent here. But other than that, I mean, it's not even a cabinet I wanted. They wanted us to really like do the technical side of it to test playing online, and I just remember us going, had they given us this cabinet 3 weeks prior, we would not be in. They would not have this PR nightmare. Going back to what you said, Jayde, their marketing team not thinking ahead.
Yeah, and I think that from what I've seen, in my opinion, the company has a serious lack of maybe marketing foresight, possibly financial. And just to kind of caveat off what you were saying, with that whole people becoming a channel to share information. I mean, that's why I started doing a YouTube channel, was because I'm thinking when I'm looking around on YouTube, I can't find a video about this. I want to see what this product is about, or if I can do this with the product. The specific detail is missing. I just can't find it anywhere on YouTube. So I decided to start my own YouTube channel, and I would include details like that, you know? And if people asked, I would answer questions like that weren't being answered in other places, or give information that wasn't there. And that's how I feel about all this stuff, is that I'm not looking for a free ride. I'm looking to share information and pass information along. But it's even gotten to the point in the home arcade community where it's like everything is being echoed at the cyclic rate, to where I'm like, I don't need to do anything. There's nothing specifically missing anymore, because it's being replayed so many times on so many different channels. But the point still stands that I'm not a shill, and I'm not trying to be a shill. I'm just trying to like help people out and give them information. But people will literally like turn anything on you if it doesn't, fit their agenda or their opinion. Sometimes, not everyone. But, if they shoe fit, wear it.
So I'm going to go OG here, and I forgot about this part of it too. So Doug actually pre-ordered NBA Jam because he was super excited about this. So his test unit, or excuse me, his pre-order actually showed up a week before the actual arcade went up. Test unit, as we were calling it, right? So he actually didn't even get his right on time, because we were like, well, they said they shipped them all out at the same time, and he's like, yeah, I pre-ordered it, but he ended up giving both of those away. But one thing I could say honestly, and I know he doesn't ask for it. He didn't hold a gun to my head or anything. He never promotes himself, but Doug is one, and Doug will come out and say, hey, yeah, I got this for review. But he calls it right down the middle, whether you're into toys or not. He calls it right down the middle. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of guys that they'll get review units. I get review units, and I do my best to call it straight down the middle as much as I can. Now, unless it's Glenn Planamento's stuff. When Glenn sends me stuff, it's in the contract that no matter what, I have to state that it's good or consequences. Right, Glenn?
Glenn,
well, he's still tied up from earlier because we had to the guy with the Atari 5600 came in, and he really wanted to talk about it, and we just really didn't want to talk about that. We figured it'd be an old guy's show, so we had to put Glenn in the corner. Oh, look who showed up in the chat room. He's actually here. Look it. He must have he must have got access to a computer being tied up.
He's
no
got his
shills
phone,
here, period.
He's got his phone in his hands.
There it is. That's right.
You know what, though? The whole... Man.
We do this because we like it. That's why we're live today. It's a Saturday. It's pouring out raining. It's windy as all heck. Jade says, hey, let's do a show tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Let's go live. Who cares, right?
And here we are.
That's easy because Glenn's stuff is always good. Oh, look at that, MG. That's awesome. See?
But, I wanted to say, though, Doug is really good. He's probably one of the best at calling it straight down the middle and being very articulate and very accurate. He's like a sniper.
Yeah.
And when he puts out his videos, it's just there's a very clear outline of what his opinions are and what he knows the facts are and what he could speculatively say about the product, or future products, whatever, updates. Sorry.
Well,
so that is very true, and I think that is one of the best, content creator formats when you're looking at products like that.
So I will say also about, because I've told Doug before, I try to copy the way he edits and stuff. I've told him that before. That's how I've gotten, I try to get better. I watch his stuff and I'm like, dang, I mean, he's really good with post editing. I suck at it. I am not, when it comes to that. But one thing I will tell you, that if anybody wants to copy Doug on, he's gonna be like, oh. But no, seriously, you will, when Doug does a review, he will never tell you you should buy this or you shouldn't buy this. He presents you the facts. You make an intelligent decision. You guys remember when he was on the show? People was like, well, Doug, what do you think of this? Should I buy it? And he's like, these are the facts. You decide. I'm just going to present the facts to you. And I think if every content creator approached it instead of going, oh, yeah, you need to buy this. You need to get out there and pre-order this. I'm guilty of it too sometimes. I let my emotions get the best of me. I'll be the first to admit it. But I think if we all approached it from that standpoint, that's something that Doug has crafted. He's really been very good at putting out his opinions and also his viewpoints with facts. It says, now make your intelligent decision. Unlike Glenn, who has a 9-page contract that we all have to sign, stating that no matter what is wrong with this product, we have to give it a good review. So just remember that if you ever get in coots.
I think that there is definitely an element of the I told you so content creators, whether it be, to pre-order or don't pre-order or whatever. And I don't think that is, in my opinion, like the best format for YouTube content creators. I think the format that is going to be the least, what's the word I'm looking for, Steven? It's the least bias.
The least bias, yeah.
Even on a personal level. On a personal level. Like if you express your opinions, you can explain them and say why you feel that way. But, then reflect back and saying, but, I am not telling you that you should or shouldn't do it. This is why I did it. And I think that, people get very carried away and are like, want to be like, I told you so, I told you whatever. And it's like, okay, great. How does that help me at all?
Look at Glenn's comment there. I'm sorry, I should be laughing.
Okay, Glenn.
You should go buy it. Oh, wait, I got to do my... Okay. No, it's not 100% correct. You need to go buy yourself a GRS Build-A-Cade right now on Thunderstick.com. And you can get it along with other products from Thunderstick.com, which right now it's 30% off for your holiday needs. Did I do that well, Glenn? Does that work for you?
No, let me do it.
Oh, you want to do it? Okay. Wait. I got to put up the... Hang on, let me put up the graphic. So, he gets more airtime. He's got to have air... Even when he's not on, he's got to have airtime.
Okay.
Wait. Before you do it, I'll even pull up the website. Hang on. Well, we're going to... Hey, listen. He's paying you more than he's paying me. So, we got to at least... We're gonna at least do this. We're gonna do this right here. Hang on. I'll move this down, and then what we'll do is we'll do this. Everybody will have fun with this. All right, there you go.
Okay, here we go.
Where's
the comment? I need the comment.
Oh, you need the comment?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. No, it's not 100% correct. You need to go and buy yourself a GRS Build-A-Cade right now.
There it is. That was beautiful.
As you guys can see as I scroll through the Build-A-Cade page here, all right, GRS products, probably the best thing you've ever seen, okay? Now, you see we have a holiday sale going on right now. We got prices you wouldn't believe for quality up the wazoo, okay? And when I say wazoo, I mean right up Arcade One Up.
Oh my goodness. No, in all seriousness though, you guys should check it out. If you're into putting a Raspberry Pi instead of an arcade and doing stuff, Glenn's doing some pretty awesome stuff. And they
By the way, his GRS upgrades for any of your Arcade One Up stuff, you will not regret it. And no, I'm not sponsored by Glenn. He doesn't pay me anything. I'm just straight up telling you, like, they are good quality upgrades. My favorite one, hands down, is the Star Wars yoke.
I like the spinner and the trackball. I have it both in my 12-in-1 and my
I have
Simpsons.
a spinner. I haven't installed it yet though.
So we're getting here it comes. Someone is shilling. Here we go. This is awesome. Yes, yes, we are. We are shilling. We are shilling for our good friend Glenn Planamento.
But it's got Glenn, so it's awesome.
What is Glenn?
But anyways, yeah, if you have a Star Wars, that's a worthwhile upgrade. It feels like, for those of you who don't have it, it feels like the arcade version when you're holding it and turning it. And when you look at it on screen, I always remember the arcade having a little bit of like a, where's my finger? A little bit of like a wiggle to the cursor on screen. And that's exactly what the GRS one feels like, but it's so smooth and so accurate compared to the one that it comes with.
So, yeah, if you guys want to accuse us of shilling for Glenn, by all means, we'll admit it.
Shill line.
I don't.
Didn't I put that in my
Yeah, that's what I was
name?
gonna say. You put it in your name, Shelion, on the call-in system. I didn't put it on here because I didn't really want to start crap with people. So I didn't. I figured somebody's gonna say something stupid. But again, if you want to call in and call us a shill, 724-893-8603 is the phone number. If you're out of the country, yeah, it might be a pay call for you, but it is a local phone number, and I'm not storing phone numbers, but you're welcome to block your number if you want to call in. That's fine too. That's one thing as a content creator you learn. You learn to protect any kind of information that you get and not put it out there publicly for everybody when somebody doesn't want to have it out there for everybody. So, but feel free to call in here and chat with us. If not, we'll be ending it here shortly. Love it. Paul says, Bonafide Picker says, love it, Paul. Shelion. Oh, boy. You could actually do a new show solo. You could call it the Shelion Show. Are you there? Is she there? Her power just went out. So you're stuck with me for a little bit. Her power just dropped. Ooh, now I can really have some fun. She's got solar. Good thing she has solar, right, guys? I don't have solar yet. So, Jade, it's a good thing you got solar, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. What do you have to say about that, Jade? Mm-hmm. See? And they were all coming down on me when I was late to the show because of the issues that I had with that. So, but in all honesty, guys, maybe she'll end up getting back on here in a little bit. You've had Jason Watts said, "I go. Let me pull up Jason's comment here. You guys are on par today, Steven. I've had dates like that. They just go still and quiet. And Darkroom Arcades goes, and there was one. So somebody's got to call in here and keep me company. Call in the phone line till she gets power back. She does have solar, so I'm not sure if she has like a backup generator or something like that. Oh yeah, what does Pdubs think? That's a great question. Pdubs, what do you think about all this? Yeah, it's pretty. So I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna say, did your backup kick it? Let's see what she says. It was just weird because like she was there and poof, gone. But I know if you have solar, like I looked into solar panels, unless you have like a battery backup, and those things are like 20 grand each. Like if you have solar, it doesn't much matter. Just makes your electric payment a month lighter on top of the loan that you have to pay for your solar panels. But if you have the battery backup, from the research I've done, it charges the battery backup. It cuts the feed back to the grid, so you're kind of on those battery backups, and then once the power comes back on and it senses it, kicks it back over, so then it's returning the power or something like that too. So now the time to vent on Jade, Steven. Let me pull this up. Oh yeah, she can't respond. So she brought it up about the whole Shelion thing. So all right. So Jade thinks, the reality is, Jade thinks all of you guys that collect arcade 1-ups are subpar. That's the reality. Right, Jade? She thinks that you all need to have the real arcades in order to be a real arcade enthusiast. Isn't that right, Jayde? Pdubs, do you agree with this? So there you have it, folks. I mean, he's there. I'm not getting any disagreements from anybody on any of this stuff. So, oh, it's back on. She said. So she said 1 second. She's trying to get back into the show. So let's see what happens here. If she comes back in, just whatever you do, don't tell her that I did that, or I'll have a YouTube video back. Sorry, guys, just having a little fun here while we're waiting for her to jump back on. I do. In all kidding aside, I have about 4 battery backups that'll last 40 minutes to an hour. But it's not something like if the power was out, I'm not going to fire up all the gear to run, right? To run a show. Usually that's like if the power went out like right now, I could safely shut everything down without anything getting all scrambled and stuff going bad. But I recommend if you don't have a battery backup, that you should get a battery backup. So
Oh, there you go.
She's back now. We really didn't talk a lot about you.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
No, nothing. Right, guys in the chat room? We didn't say anything bad about Jayde, right?
Yeah, I don't even know why the power went out. It's probably just like a rolling blackout because I live in stupid California.
Bill says the stream just went to next level, AAA. Your battery backups are good. See? Darkroom Arcade, he goes, no, we didn't say nothing bad about Jayde. Nothing. Wow. MG says, I have about 93 kilowatts in the truck. Wow. It's like a weekend and Pdubs.
Dang.
Yeah. I'm really surprised Bill didn't call into the he has the call-in information to call into the live to air. I'm really surprised Bill leaves me hanging here for like 10 minutes. Glenn has the call-in information, leaves me hanging here. And so basically I was talking to you and Pdubs like this. And they were laughing about it. They thought it was hilarious. So no, she's not homesteading. Doesn't your solar panel, do you have a battery backup on it, or does it just, yeah, Pdubs response, or does it just, when the power goes out, you just don't have, you're not off of solar, so to speak?
No, I don't. I was supposed to get a battery installed, and then something about California.
Oh,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. And then, so they're supposed, I think I'm going to have to wait until next year to do it. It's like a budget thing or something. But I'm going to get a battery installed. But I have 35 solar panels, which apparently are not working correctly. So
Yeah, but even if the power goes down, you have no solar. But the solar is just making your
right,
payments lighter.
because Edison is evil and they control everything from the grid.
Yep. I just got a text message from you. So apparently your cellular's delayed. It says, I'm in the waiting room, unless that's your evil twin.
No, that was me.
No.
Just a little bit behind.
No, I mean, I literally just got it just now. Like it showed up on my watch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I sent that like 5 minutes ago.
It's California. Get those hamsters moving in the wheel. They're not moving. All right. Can we get back to something here, or we might as well end the stream?
What were we on?
I don't even remember, because now we were talking shills, and then you dropped, and then we said about Shill Lion, and people were saying that would make a good show, and you need a transfer switch.
Who made that up? Didn't Paul make that up, or Paul make that?
Paul or MG? Somebody in there was.
Paul made that up. Shill Lion.
Oh, went to message. Dave, try calling. Donnie, try calling in again. I didn't have that screen pulled over because everybody else was able to get in. I just didn't have the screen in front of me. Try calling it again, Danny Davis. Or if it's Donnie, I don't know. Danae? I would say it's Danny Davis.
Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at it quick. The last call that I had was at 1:32 p.m. The other thing is I'd have to see what the settings are in the system. I didn't have time to poke around the settings because I was trying to get it up when her and Dubs were talking in the beginning of the show. I literally was running to the other side of the studio to get the call-in system working, and so I didn't have a chance to go through all the settings. So it may block you if you're using a blocked. Okay, Danny, it may be blocking you if you're blocking your number. It may not let the call go through because everybody else was able to call in with the phone line. So I don't want. What's that?
I've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
What are you doing? Don't you have things to do today?
I screen. Oh, here's somebody call. Yeah, we'll go in a little while. All right. Let me get this person on here.
I
quick.
Can't answer. Somebody did ask a question earlier though that I meant to answer, and
well, hang on.
We got
a caller. Let's see if they made it in. Hello.
Hello.
You're on the air.
Yeah, I was gonna just make a comment about the
is this Danny?
Up and how everybody. No, this is Gary.
Oh, Gary, what's going on, man?
Gary. Hi, Gary.
Yeah, I was just making a comment about the 1UP. A lot of people hate on me for saying this, but 1UPs went down that rabbit hole that Atari did a long time ago, where they just come up subpar, throw a cartridge out there, and it was crap. Well, 1UP's going down that same road. They just keep throwing arcades out there with crap parts.
Mm.
And it just seems like they just keep shoveling out there like shovelware. I mean, they look good. The cabinets look good and everything. That's cool and all, but screens are bad. The controls are bad. There's always something bad with the arcade. It's like there's no quality control with them anymore.
No, I agree with that.
Do you agree?
No, 100% agree with that.
I think the screens are fine aside from being 17-inch. I think that the screens are good as long as they're using the BOEs. But I think that the control panels are not up to par. I agree with that. I think that they've improved their joysticks, but the buttons are still. I'm not a fan of that. But I think that with everything that they're doing to improve them, like using molded plastic for the coin doors and all these other little things that they're doing, if they want to keep it at a certain price point, i.e. $500 or $600, that unfortunately they have to make some concessions. Now, that's not to say that it's excusable. I think where you're talking about, you're very correct, is their quality control. I mean, especially when you get a product that arrives damaged or broken on the inside, not from shipping, but because of manufacturer defects. And I think that there's a fair amount of that going on with their products as well.
And then, you got other things too, where they advertise things on their boxes that they don't even have available, like internet.
Right. I think that, and we were talking about that earlier, was that it's a huge issue. That all these problems are getting fixed right now. And I think it's hard to say with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that they, in its entirety, falsely, if we're speaking technically here, that they falsely advertised, because the Wi-Fi worked for online playability with everything except for the marquee title, of course. So,
right.
Are people upset about that? Do they feel gypped? I think they have every right to. However, you can't say 100% like, oh, this is false advertising. Whereas with Blitz, I think that was completely irresponsible and false advertising. And again, it's one of those situations where they did nothing to address it. They didn't put a disclaimer on their website. They didn't release a public statement. And so, yeah, those kind of things are a huge either lack of quality control or just a serious lack of business intelligence and marketing.
Well, that's why I go back to Atari, because Atari was arrogant because they were the big boy on the block, and 1UP's now the big boy on the block for arcades, home arcades. And I'm not attacking anybody for buying them. I mean, they're cool looking machines.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people bought Blitz for the main reason of being able to play online, because it was something they were never able to do. And so
Right.
I think that's why it's a bigger problem, right? That's
Yeah.
I mean that is the main that they could have done a 2-player blitz and had online and people would have bought it, as long as the online worked, and it worked well, because people wanted the ability to. And I think a lot of these guys, you're not going to fit 4 big guys around a 4-player thing. So I think the majority of people,
No.
they wanted this for online. They didn't care if it was 4-player, 2-player, 1-player. They didn't care. They wanted to play it online. So I think that was a little misleading. Jayde, you have Marvel vs. Capcom. Mine still didn't get here yet. Yeah, I mean, is it a deal breaker right now that you can't play online?
No, I mean, my stance on MVC2.
You love it. It's your
I
favorite
was
game.
just going to keep it. I was going to keep it no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's not right. And I will say that after thinking for a moment, that I do agree. I get the impression or the feeling that they are kind of arrogant with the way that they do business, that they're kind of like, well, we're the only ones who do this. You get what you get type of thing, and we don't have to answer to you. I mean, that's just honestly how I feel about it. And I mean, after, a lot of situations that have already happened and I don't really want to rehash with them, and seeing how they interact with, influencers and consumers, it was just, that's a very good description, that they're arrogant in their business model.
So let me ask you, Gary, has this made you lose faith in Arcade 1UP as a company? Are you at the stance right now that you're not buying another cabinet, even if you want it, unless the QC gets better and they start actually listening? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
I'm at the point where I'm just done with them. They've shown that they don't care what they throw out there, and it's just at the point where it's like, I got a few of them, but I'm not going to keep spending money on low quality machines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big thing is ongoing support for their software is where they're really hurting too. I definitely do feel that they screwed the pooch on Blitz, and I don't even have Blitz. I'm not going to get it. I can't really speak on the performance of it or what it's been like, but I just, as a consumer and as somebody who's in this market, it was like, what the heck is your guys' problem? And then for them to respond the way that they did to it, and to all the, the negative remarks and criticisms from the community, was even more mind-blowing to me. But I feel the same way. I don't have faith in them as a company. And I mean, I can kind of tie that back into what we talked about in the beginning of the show with Code Mystics, kind of reaching out and giving them an opportunity to maybe start looking at themselves and making better decisions and maybe fixing things. But the quality of the cabinets themselves and the changes that they've made along the way, I still think they've made some significant changes. When you look at where they started off with that one mold that they used for every cabinet. And that being said, they may not have accurate molds now for all of their cabinets, but their designs are following a more traditional arcade style design. And I think that mostly applies to the fighting ones, because those are the ones that the people tend to get, upset about. But I think that the overall quality, from what I've seen, from where they started out at the $200 price point to $500-600 now, I think that the overall exterior quality and design has gotten substantially better. But then you couple it with the lack of consumer support from the marketing division, and the lack of software support, and the fact that they pretty much have made some really bad decisions in their marketing and advertising department, and then not even turned around to fix them.
But you know whose fault that really is? It's Goofyfoot's fault.
Right.
In the chat room. It's his fault.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't gone after him enough. But no, Gary, I mean, I think we're all in agreement with you that I think they're in some serious trouble, right?
Yeah, they got to step up their game a little bit. to be said.
So before we let
We'll
you go,
see.
what would you before we let you go, what would you like to see them do? What would have to like lay it out for us, because obviously their marketing team has no clue. So what would you like to
Well,
see? You're in charge. Tell us.
Apparently, if you're going to put subpar parts in it, then you're going to have to go back to your price point you had years ago, where they were under $300.
Okay. I agree with that. I think they need to go, but then we can't expect them to include everything that they include with it now.
Well, but if they're including everything they're including and then give you a washed out monitor or bad controls, then it's a wash. You're not getting anything out of it.
Right.
Well, I don't think that they're currently selling those washed out monitors. I think the only machines left that have those are which I have no idea why they did that.
Like Golden Tee
are the 19-inch monitors and excuse me, and what is it, Dig Dug, Pac-Man, and there might be one other one, but MK30. And I agree that was a very bad decision and that should have affected the price tag. However, I know a lot of those were on sale for like $299, but it doesn't excuse that. Now, when they first started off and we were paying $199 for a Street Fighter 2, we had a wood marquee, we had no riser, we had even worse controls and a washed out monitor. And so now the standard is you get a riser, you get a lit marquee that has a printed film on it, you get better joysticks, you get a BOE monitor, and generally speaking, longer game list alongside of that. So again, I do see the point that the price tag should match what you're getting. But when you look at what we have now in comparison to what we started off with Street Fighter 2, it's vastly different.
Yeah. And the packaging is a lot better now than it was when it first started. I mean, when you opened a box, there was no boxes within boxes. It was, he wouldn't know you. He doesn't stand up for baloney. I don't know if Goofy, we're blaming you for this, Goofy, just so you know. I don't know. I don't know who he's responded to, but he cracks me up. But Gary, listen, man, we appreciate you calling in. I think this is going to be a long-term thing, and until they get more communicative, like they said they were going to do, I think we're all going to be guessing. I mean, that's honestly the truth. We're all going to be guessing at this point.
Oh yeah, and take care. Love the podcast, you guys. Doing a great job.
Appreciate it, Gary. You take care.
Thanks, Gary. Have a good one.
So again, you guys, that was Gary. 724-893-8603. We're going to be wrapping it up here shortly, but you can call in. And no, we didn't block anybody from calling in. I haven't gone through the fine-tuned settings of all this to be able to block anybody if I wanted to. I literally slapped it together.
Can you pull up Rexer's comment?
This one here, the price.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Go ahead.
So that's a speculative comment, though, right, Rexer? You don't have anything factual to prove that with, that you could post up like a price point comparison per their manufacturing models and what they include now versus before. I mean, because I would be curious to see that, because I do think that it costs them at least a little bit more to make what they're making now versus when they started off. I think that they may have even inflated the price of the original ones a substantial amount. But regardless, I'm just saying, like, the materials cost absolutely has to be more. Sourcing better monitors has to cost a little bit more. And I do agree that, especially with the way that they market these things and what we keep seeing on the pattern of price point, is that you can't trust them when they release a cabinet for $699, and then 3 months later, we know you're going to see that cabinet on sale for $399 or $349.
Well, wait. Before you continue, let me just add this to it, and then you continue. You got to remember, guys, Arcade 1-Up sells to the distributor, the retailer, at a set price. That doesn't change, depending on the volume that they buy. Then the retailer either lowers the price, raises the price back up. it's not Arcade 1-Up. There you go.
Right. But even when they're having sales on their websites or
That's just due to stock because they have too many in
whatever,
stock
yeah,
that they're
through
not
the
selling.
stock, which I think a lot of times is just to match whatever the markdowns are.
Right.
Regardless. I mean, the whole point is just that I agree kind of with what you're saying, and I kind of disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because I don't see anything that has hard evidence which you're going to be able to prove that the cost is the same, because I don't think it is. But I do think that it's bogus that they release these cabs specifically. It's certain cabs, like it's always the sports cabs, the 4-player cabs that they release, and then a couple months later they go on sale for almost half the price. And it's the same thing with like T2 and Ridge Racer, starting off at $6.99 and going down to $2.99. And I see what's happening and I see the pattern, and I think that if people were more educated on that and they just waited, I would be curious to see how that affected the company. But it is a show of either a severe amount of overstock because people don't want to pay $6.99 for them through these vendors, or just the fact that they're basically like overpriced.
All right.
Like an MF.
So can I say something that's either going to make you in the community mad or agree with me? And I'm going to say, because I got these two cabinets at $2.99, the Terminator 2 and the Ridge Racer. And I have to say that Ridge Racer has got to be the most underrated title that Arcade 1-Up has put out. And it plays really good. Like, it's a lot of fun. And
yeah,
I think
thought
it's
that they
underrated.
did a good job with the exception of the speakers, which are
the sound.
garbo.
But I'm talking about the actual gameplay. Forget.
Yeah.
There's a few minor other things that are, but I'm talking like for $2.99. Now, do I think it's worth $700? No, heck no. But if you can get it at $2.99 or $3.99, sign up, buy it, get it. You won't be sorry. It's a lot of fun. My wife loves playing it.
If you like racing games, I would recommend it too. Yeah. I mean, I think for that price point that it's
you
worth
can't
it,
go wrong. But I agree. Don't buy it at full price. Jade made me buy Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at full price, and I still don't have it yet. So,
and the whole thing with pre-ordering is, I think it's important to have content out there where people can look and say okay, what is this person saying about this product, and historically what has happened with Arcade 1-Up and pre-orders, and which ones have actually mattered. And I think that's how I made my assessment about MVC2, which was I wanted to pre-order it immediately because I knew I wanted to get it. I knew the risks that were associated with it. And that was it. I knew that cabinet was, even though people have been saying that it's going to go on sale and stuff, was not going to be on sale by Christmas, was not going to be easy to find, and was not going to be was going to be limited, basically. And people had said, oh, it'll be on sale on Black Friday. Nah, this is not one of those cabinets. And neither was Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Maybe the X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which I didn't pay attention to much, but even then it became a rare cabinet. And so as a fighting game person, that was one that I assessed, I will take the risks and I will pre-order it. But Blitz is one of those ones like The Simpsons or NBA Jam, where if you don't pre-order it, you're going to be able to pick it up as soon as it's released in the retail division. And I don't think that, I think that people just need to be able to assess that for themselves. You can't say don't pre-order, I'm telling you not to pre-order, because then what if somebody wants to get something and then they don't pre-order and then, oh, it's not available now?
Well, to be fair with that statement, how many people have been told stuff by content creators, and I'm saying across the board, I'm not even, how many people have been told you really need to do this, only to find out later that it's readily available? History has shown us, to be fair, when Turtles came out the first time, everybody's like, oh, you got to pre-order it, you're not going to be able to get it, and all these guys went out and pre-ordered it. I walked into my Walmart a week before release, but it was maybe within 2 weeks before. And people were mad when they saw, I was posting pictures. Look what I found. Walked out of Walmart with it at $3.99 and put it up. Because history has shown us that these cabinets show up. Just like, didn't they say with Dragon's Lair, that was going to be an Arcade 1-Up exclusive from
right.
Their website.
Yeah.
Now you can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Best Buy, you can get it at Target. So I understand where the community is coming from, where they're like hesitant when people say, well, you really should pre-order this. This happens to be the one cabinet, I have to say, that is in fact one that you're not really going to see in stores unless, like you said, some people were posting that they saw it in Best Buy. It could have been a return, but usually they have to send them back. But it's possible somebody returned it, got it to their house. They didn't even open it, so they were like, well, this isn't even open. We'll sell it on the floor. That's possible. That's very well possible.
I think so. I think that's what happened. But, I mean, that's just my whole point, is that, you know, there needs to be content that's saying, like, you've got to, here's the risks associated with it. How badly do you want this? How badly does it matter to you? Because if it's just something that you're buying for the woohoo,
This guy,
if
he's
it's just
cruising
something that
for
you're
it.
buying because you just, you know, want to have a bunch of them in your basement or whatever, then it might not be worth it to you. But if you're like a collector and you love, you know, this game, and you know that there's a risk associated with it that you actually might not get one,
Right.
or it might take way longer than you want it to, then, you know, maybe you should pre-order it. It's really just, you just have to do the research to make these kind of educated decisions. Don't believe what Arcade 1UP says. That's for sure. Don't believe anything they say.
And to be fair, don't believe what every content creator puts out there, because honestly, it's not that they're trying to purposely sway you or lead you down a road. They're taking the information that's given to them. Think about the source. And like I said, right here, Bonafide Picker says, content creators have not helped 1UP because saying things that are untrue. Not anyone here, but I do feel lied to. Sorry I had to say that. No, and I think that's a fair assessment. If you're a content creator, don't come out and say, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then two minutes later, people start testing things, and it's trash. We haven't done any of that. We try not to do that, and other content creators try not to do that. So I agree with you. Sometimes but if they're being fed that, let's just say there's 10 people that are close with the company.
Right. I was going to say.
And they're being fed this information. You have to have a little bit of grace on the content creator, because they're giving them this information. The content creator hasn't vetted it. Maybe they don't have the cabinet yet. Maybe they're like me, and it's a Christmas dream sitting back here, right? You know, to be fair, they're just reporting because they're trying to get it out there. They're trying to get the information to you. And I can say this as somebody that worked closely with At Games years ago. Pdubs and I used to catch so much heat because people were like, well, you said this was going to work on Legend Center, and now it doesn't work. And I'm like, look, that's what we were told. We didn't get a chance to try it. We literally went live, told you guys, and that was it. And you guys know I was very cynical on the show about it. Like, guys, I don't know if it's going to work. This is what they're telling us. And the transparency that we had with that, but you can't blame the content creator on this part. It all comes back to the root, which, Jade, it's the company.
Yeah, I think that the company has a big hand in all that. And the other thing too, which is a normal thing, is to be like an affiliate or something. You know, content creators commonly do. They have an affiliate programs with companies like Arcade 1UP. And exactly what Stephen was saying, if they're feeding them information and the information they're getting is from the wrong department or incorrect, not fully accurate information, and they're thinking that they're being told the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunately, you know, it does kind of fall on them, but it's like they didn't know that, you know? And so I think that's why it's always important to really look around and research and see where you can find the most hard evidence that is showing historically, or, you know, in a combination of current, what's going on with the company and what the risks are associated with that product, if it's something you're looking at or you're looking into getting in the future. But don't just take what everyone or anyone is saying with gospel. Take it with a grain of salt, because, I mean, it's diverse. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and Paul Barnes says, you know, Stephen, that's because they had so many break fixes and feature releases, it became unmanageable. And I agree with it. And they're doing product launches on top of that, right? They're trying to get everything aligned, and they're bringing new products out at the same time. You know, it's tough. as somebody that I worked in software for almost 20 years for a broadcasting program, and I saw it with that company. And I'm not going to say who it is. People watching that knows the company, but they bring all these new features out and wouldn't fix the basic of basic things that we needed for that program to be stable. They would just overlook it and just keep throwing out new features because in the hopes of masking any of the problems, basically for the bottom line, to make money. And now that I've switched to hardware and worked for a company that makes, cameras and hardware, it's night and day difference because it's a small family-owned company. They really care about the product. We vigorously test it both on software and hardware, and we're constantly, and this is what they do best. You ready for this, guys? We listen to the community. We'll go live with features. We'll tell people about these features and be like, it'd be really cool if you had this in there. And our engineering team goes, wow, that's a really good idea. We never thought about this. Give us a couple weeks and we'll have it in there. That's the makings of a good company that's going to make money. So two different dynamics and spectrums. So
Bonafide says something here that I want to hit on real quick.
Absolutely. Let me pull that up here.
He says it's the creators that have the cab claim things are good when they really are not that, and that gets under my skin. And I see that may be true and probably is true, but
here's
why I say it like that. Some people literally don't have the attention to detail to notice certain mechanics of the game are missing because they never played it enough to begin with. And I can tell you firsthand that I have found things mainly with like the fighting game cabs that annoy the crap out of me. And they're either graphical mechanics or emulated mechanics. And I'm like, this just isn't right. And basically what I've been told is, well, nobody else is really reporting this. And I'm like, that's not true. I go on Reddit, I've seen a couple other people talk about it. But the level of attention to detail that some of the content creators may or may not have is probably based on their experience. So I could see how certain things could slip past them. If you don't know how to play Marvel versus Capcom, it's like the Dance Dance Revolution of fighting games. And if you don't know how to really actually play it, you might not notice the input lag. You might not notice that combos aren't working right. There's a ton of different things that could make a content creator say, oh, this is great, because they may not have the experience behind it.
What about Big Blue? When you and I had that discussion, right? I didn't grow up playing Big Blue.
Right.
And you were like, don't you notice the input lag? And I'm like, no, it plays fine for me. Because I don't know the game as well as you know it.
And for me, I'm catching all these things. I have videos of all these issues with Big Blue and, Shinku Hadouken. And it's just stuff that goes unnoticed. Experience update problems down the road. So hopefully.
Her head's getting bigger. Look out. It's not fitting in the video frame. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, like, hopefully I will be a reliable source. But, I just think that's a tough one to kind of agree on, because sometimes they may just be doing it out of ignorance, if that makes sense, not because they're trying to be deceitful.
Well, I think being quiet and just like ghosting everybody and pretending that the problems are not there after you made a big splash in the community about hyping everybody up for this. I mean, we're talking this was a marketing campaign for these guys to get on, to have John D come on certain content creator shows and hype up these programs and get you, those of you that really wanted the game, to pre-order it, Jade. And they did a really good job of it, because not only did she buy one, she bought two and then returned one. They did a really good job of that and went on these shows and did their own show. And then as soon as the community came out and started saying that there was problems, those that got their cabinets, Jade included, it was kind of like, you ever see that meme where Homer Simpson goes slowly back into the hedge?
Yeah.
That's what Arcade 1-Up, I feel, is doing right now.
And the thing is, with the MVC2 cab, the issues that were initially isolated to MVC2. If you're just turning the game on and playing it, it's not as noticeable. Where it starts to happen is over time. And I don't know if it was something that had to do with like memory dumping or what exactly it was connected to, but over time you would start to get input lag and slowdown. And it's still like that's still an issue on the character select screen. But in the game now, as you play on, the input lag doesn't seem apparently like it's increasing or like you're missing hits. I mean, before I would actually like smack a button and nothing would happen. So it was bad. Like you get 3 or 4 rounds in, and you'd start to experience that kind of input lag.
So this is really off topic.
Initially, if you're just opening it out of the box.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, my point just was initially, if you're taking it out of the box and playing it and playing like a round and switching to a different game, you might like those issues might not be nearly as apparent if you're actually focusing on MVC2 and playing through it and playing both sides of it. I mean, you really start to see where the problems are.
See, I know it from the Dreamcast, so it'll be interesting to see that once I get it. Ritual.
Oh, the Dreamcast version is way superior.
Rich Adello, you had sent me a message on the Tech Buzz Facebook fan. I didn't want you to think I forgot. I had a list of people in there, some spam and garbage. The best way when you're asking a question, like when it comes to like something you want to, like camera recommendations and things like that you want to do, send me an email because I don't have to I get people trying to send me products. I got people in there saying that they want me to advertise. They'll pay me X amount of dollars on a post, and it's all scam crap. Send me an email, steve@thetechbuzz.net, with your question, and I'll answer that back for you. I just didn't want you to think like I was ignoring it. I went in there the other day, Jayde, no lie. I must have had like 600 notifications just from the past week of people sending stupid, I mean stupid. If I showed even you guys in the chat room this, you'd be like, really? People actually send you that stuff? It's ridiculous. And I don't have a huge fan base on that page. I think I have like 2,000 likes on my Facebook page. So it's like, they're robots or something. I don't know.
Sorry.
Wait. We haven't checked in on Pdubs. We haven't asked Pdubs. What do you think of everything we're talking about? What do you think about everything we're talking about?
Are you good?
All right, he's good. Okay. All right, so we're good.
Taggin 1968 says, "Put a heat sink, we'll stop it." I'm gonna say I disagree with that because I'm pretty sure that chip is underclocked. So I don't think the problem is that it's overheating, and I think that's why it was underclocked. That's kind of the lore and what I've heard.
I don't get into all this modding and chipset stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that that's gospel.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like slowdown that I was experiencing because it wasn't like it was struggling to play it. It was like there was something wrong.
Well, Jayde, let me ask you though, the board that's in that. Again, I'm not into the modding stuff heavily.
It's an arcade board. It's
but isn't it an older board? Is it a 6633 or it's an older board, right? It's not even a newer board that.
Yeah, it's not like a new board. But it's a board that's powerful enough to handle the game.
Okay.
So it's the same exact chipset that the well, there's 2 versions of it, so I'm not sure which variant the iArcade's using, but it's the same chipset, the Arcade 3399 or whatever.
Oh, is it 3399? Okay. Because I know AtGames uses an older chipset as well, and I'm just wondering if because they're using an older chipset, that's causing part of the problems. But again, I don't get too crazy.
No.
The most modding I'm going to do.
It's all Android based, anyways.
The most modding I'm going to do is after this show. I have a set of red buttons and white buttons that I'm going to open my ALP and swap out the flipper and nudge buttons on the side. And I just stop modding. Or I'll put in like blend spinners and stuff like that. But I don't get. Some of you guys get too crazy with it. I'm just like I just play it.
Oh my God! It is noon 22 right now.
You slacker! It's 3:30 here.
I do want to answer a question that was like way earlier in the chat. Somebody asked about my Capcom arcade cabinet. So I'm waiting for that to be delivered, but there's going to be some upcoming content on that with a lot of information about what exactly it is. But I did basically have a custom aesthetically. It's kind of got a Capcom look and feel to it, cabinet built as like a multicade cabinet. So it's gonna be cool.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this up. What did you guys think of this format? I know with the holidays coming, I'm going to be off of work. My last day of work is the 16th. We might be able to do some more of these impromptu shows in the evenings. Would you guys like the call-in option where you can call in live rather than do video? I mean, we could set it up to do video too. I mean, I'm essentially set up for that. But do you like this kind of a format, just to talk about whatever? We have no agenda. We just a blanket topic, home arcade talk. You guys bring your questions, comments, or if you want to add into it. I think a lot of this is kind of like a therapy session for a lot of people. It's a lot of great venting. But if that's something you guys want to see, we can even get different creators to come on with us, like we had Pdubs today. We can get other people to come on. If that's something you want to do. I think it brings it. It's almost like talk radio. Like you don't really have to pay attention. There's not a lot of visuals with this type of thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say it reminds me of this old talk radio, Mark and Brian. But hey, one thing though,
yeah,
excellent to each other.
Yeah. There is a internet
said
radio
it
station that wants me to bring some of the shows onto their station, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to commit yet. Because I'm like, we'd just basically be syndicating onto the web radio station, but this might be a good show for that web radio station that people could actually listen to on their phones.
The degradation of my internet right now is.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, no, I see it. You drop down to 360p, which it's fine for what we're doing here. So what we'll do, guys, we'll put out another notice when we'll go live, but probably after the 16th or around that time, we'll do something like this to call in. The main thing is, guys, just be nice to each other. Listen, if you don't like something somebody else likes, it's fine. It's all good. People don't like a lot of stuff that I like, and that's okay. People don't like the way I do things, and that's okay. I'm not losing any sleep over it. Just do you, enjoy what you do, and listen, a lot of you guys have a lot of great information that help guys like me and Shelion with fixing this computer. I saw somebody in there, Jade, I don't know if you saw it, about the Ridge Racer. Try switching the wires at the speakers to fix that issue with the speakers. He said it back in the chat room. So you guys have a lot of experience. Put it out there. Let's work on that. Let's help each other better these cabinets, because obviously the companies aren't doing it. Let's check in with Glenn one last time before we go and see if he's. Yep, he's still tied up at the moment. Glenn, I'm sorry, we're going to keep you that way at least until Thursday. So we're going to leave you there. We're going to leave him there until Thursday. Jade, thank you for conning me into doing this 3.5 hours later. Guys, check her out, youtube.com/Shelion Gaming. And guys, we really appreciate you all hanging out with us and having a great talk. You'll be able to watch this in reruns on the YouTube channel. It's in the playlist. I'll also have it on the website. If you go to ttbgaming.com, the newly built ttbgaming.com, as well as the techbuzz.net, both websites I had to redo. They're all up and going. So, is there a thumbs up from Pdubs? Pdubs, check him out, youtube.com/Pdubs Arcade Loft. You guys can check him out there. Yeah, Pdubs. Look, always cheesing for the camera. Make sure.
Steven.
Yes.
Let's ask him if this was the best live stream he's ever been on.
Well, go ahead. You ask him.
Dubs, was it? Was this the best live stream you've ever been on?
We got
the
thumbs up. We got the thumbs up. So next week, Thursday, we have the game time, and then the Super Game Room dudes on Friday, and we'll keep you abreast of anything else. Make sure you go check Juan out. Juan, he had the information in there to go watch his whatnot. So go check him out. Support the other content creators, and make sure you put this out on social media with Pdubs. Ask Pdubs. There you go. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your time.